Shirt show. All right, let's go. Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Just talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt, man! All right, episode 27 of Shirt Show. We're talking with Kenneth Smith of DFW Inc. in Texas. Let's go! Shirt show!
Look at that fucking beauty in the background.
Who, me?
Yeah. I wasn't talking about the digital squeegee.
Look at that.
There you go.
So what's up, fellas? Y'all do this every Sunday?
Unfortunately. Yeah.
Working, doing something on Sunday. It's been fucking war in here lately. It's like I have to work all the time to keep my head above water. You guys like extremely busy? Y'all starting to turn down a little bit?
Yeah, it's been crazy.
What's causing that? What are y'all doing most of right now?
I feel like it's back to everything I was doing before. I mean, I never really did like schools or anything like that. So I never had to worry about that. But like all my normal stuff is still here. And I kind of got fucked because earlier in the year, I told one of our main printers that he could go on vacation this month because normally it's our slow month. And I feel like because of COVID, everything shifted like 2 months. Yeah. So I feel like we're printing like it's August right now. And it's fucking early December, and we're like slamming like summer still.
How's that going? Are you just able to run one press then? Because you're
we're running two presses because luckily Brian, who does the art and film or art and seps and stuff, he was a printer first, so like he knows how to run the press. So basically, he does like seps half the day, and he's going out and printing the other half of the day, which is nice. But for the first time in forever, basically, I've contemplated like sending jobs out to other printers because we're just so busy that I can't have all my guys working every night till 9 o'clock.
So you hate people tell you, oh, that's a good problem to have. That's like the number one. When people tell me that, I'm like, you don't know shit about screen printing. Like having too much work and being late on orders is the worst problem to have.
Well, that's the thing is luckily we're not really late on orders. We're just staying late to like keep up with the turnaround. But the problem is that I'm all about it because it's my company and I don't want to have that on my shoulders of like customers being pissed off, but a lot of them are just like, I want to go home. And I'm like, hey, I need you to keep working like Monday through Friday till 9 o'clock. And hey, we might work Saturday too. And it's like, yeah, that sucks.
And then you start doing math like, well, I'm paying these guys overtime. I'm actually making money on these jobs right now.
Yeah, exactly. So what are you guys busy with right now?
Man, really like people's personal brands and online boutiques. I think when COVID hit, everybody went into I have to fend for myself mode and I have to make a way. And whenever we first shut down, I don't know when you guys shut down, but we shut down on like March 23rd. It was supposed to be like a 10-day shutdown. So I told all my guys, they're like, hey, most of y'all have vacation time. Why don't y'all just cash out on vacation? We'll be back in 10 days. And then like 3 days into that shutdown, they're like, oh, it's going to be 30 days. And I was like, oh, shit. And I think that's the first time I ever didn't know what to do as a business owner. You know, like I didn't freak out. I was just like, oh shit, that was like probably the scariest time. Like I had nothing to do like for a few days, like my phone didn't ring, my phone didn't do anything. But then it was the online boutiques that came through first. I did a quarantine and chill shirt, like the first probably week of quarantine. We did like almost 6,000 of those shirts, just a 2-color front. And I got in here and did it by myself. I was making a killing, and I was like, I remember this shit when I don't have anybody to pay, and I'm making all the money. This is badass, you know. But then
let's keep this quarantine going.
Yeah, quarantine party over here. But then slowly but surely, it just started getting back to normal, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know what you call normal or not.
Did you guys were you like forcefully shut down for a long period of time, or did you kind of like apply to be essential and get back to work?
Man, I didn't do none of that. I sit at home for like 2 days, and like for the first time, I felt like I was scrounging for orders. Like it got to the point like I didn't have any orders, and which was completely abnormal for us because we do on average probably at least 100 orders a week. And it got to the point where I was like messaging people on Instagram, yo, that's a dope ass design. Want to put it on some shirts? You know, it got to that point. I was like, damn, I've never had to do this before. You know what I mean? But like I said, the boutique started coming at me, and they started coming up with some pretty clever ideas. They did a bunch of like quarantine and COVID related designs. And then somebody came to me with like a big order of masks, and I was like, I'm never doing these again. Those Bella canvas masks, I did like 5,000 of those, and that was like torture.
Andy, you did a bunch of those Bella masks too, didn't you?
We did. Yeah. We did several rounds of them because not that we sold out of our shop or anything, but just like you said, somebody came to us for them. And the first round that came through were those Bella canvas, just like you talked about, the ones that were made out of t-shirts. And so when we printed them just on our press, like on our normal standard pallets. And then when we put them through the dryer, they wanted to curl up a little bit. If that happened to you, so they wouldn't stay flat. And so we spent a lot of time at the end of the dryer just trying to keep them flat so we can package them and then give them to the customer.
Did you notice that those masks, like every other one, are facing a different way?
Yeah, they were. So yeah, you're right. So like I was trying to figure out why they did that, as maybe they had that on the cutting tables like that.
Yeah. So have you ever been to the Bella Canvas factory in LA?
No.
I went there like, I think 3 summers ago. It's pretty badass actually. So the way they do their fabric, it's like, I want to say it's like maybe 50 yards long, right? And they'll take the fabric and they'll go this way with it, and then come this way, and then come this way, and then come this way, to where when they die cut it, they have the front and back of a shirt right next to each other, which is why they're facing opposite ways.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that makes sense.
So that's the same way when they did the mask. Like the first time I went to grab one, I was like, wait a minute, this is facing a different way. And then a light bulb just went off. I was like, damn. And then so I'm running this 5,000 piece, and I'm having to like keep track in my mind. Okay, this one gets flipped over, this one doesn't. This one gets flipped over, this one doesn't. It was just like super annoying, man. And those things, the way they're like stacked together, I was having to like lick my fingers to like separate them and all that. I started getting lint all in my mouth, all in my nose. And it was just like, so we did 5,000 of them for Panini, which is like they make like trading card, like baseball cards and stuff.
Like the sandwich.
Panini, but yeah, like the sandwich, but they make fucking baseball cards. They're like close to us over here. So I ran those with my daughter. She was the first person I brought back. And, we were just letting them fall in the box at the end of the dryer. And then I went down there after doing about 1,000 of them. I was like, I can't give these to this person like this. It was just like a wadded mess. So then we spent, 6 hours straightening those out. And it was just one of those jobs. I was just like, man, I feel like I'm printing trash, because those masks, I mean, I realized they were trying to put some product out there or whatever. But, in my opinion, those are probably the worst masks on the market.
Well, we've talked about this. We talked about this like, I don't know, like 20 episodes ago or something, but I feel like you have to give them credit for being like the first ones to like hurry up and get something out to somebody, because, everybody needed it. But you got to think is like, that was all their goal was, is to like hurry up and get something out. Like all these other companies came out with cooler masks later, but they had a lot of time to like R&D and figure it out. And
exactly.
Bella was just like, hey, we've got the equipment. Let's just make a shitload of masks.
Those were the first masks we had. And so I would even put them in, I kept them in my Jeep, and I would just put one on, and then when I left the store, I just throw it away because they're basically disposable. You can, that's how thin they are. And so they're actually kind of comfortable too, because I like the Bayside masks and stuff like that. The ones that are 3-ply and thicker, they hurt my ears, and they're just heavier and harder to breathe through. I don't know. Yeah, there it is.
So I see you guys did you guys really get sponsored by Starbucks? That was quick. Was that for real?
That was not for real.
How this all started was we were basically both at this, like, for a period drinking Pure Leaf, because this is what I normally drink anyway. So I always have them. And then we were like, fuck it. Let's just like keep pushing it and see what happens if they're ever going to like even like something on Instagram or like repost something or whatever. They have never even once given us a single like on anything. And we've probably reposted and helped sell a shitload of Pure Leaf. And they're just like, fuck you guys.
Yeah. Isn't that like, how do you guys feel about that? You talk about you're waiting for them to like your posts and stuff like that. How much do you guys rely, or social media period? It's to the point, to me now, it's more annoying than anything. And I notice some of the bigger shops, I'm talking like big shops, you go to their Instagram and they have like 130 followers and like 3 posts. Like they just do not care about it. No. How do y'all feel about like the whole Instagram thing? It's almost like an obligation. Like you try and keep up with the Joneses type of deal. How do y'all feel about that?
Dylan?
I can go. You want me to go first?
Yeah, you go.
Well, for me personally in our shop, like it's pretty important because I don't do any contract. Andy, stop pushing that gross shit. I don't do any contract, and I don't rely on any local business. Like I don't do that kind of thing. Everything I do is online. So like my medium to get new customers or talk to new people is mostly through social media. So that's where we've gotten most of our work from. So for me, it's twofold. Yeah, I get a lot of business from it, but also like I get to stay connected to people like you guys and talk to my buddies all day long. So that's kind of where we stand on it. But I feel like a lot of those massive shops like you're talking about, they just have like big clients that they've had for 15, 20 years or whatever, and they just do that all day long. So they don't really have to get on social media to try to get new work. So that's where I stand on it. But for me, it's mostly just hanging out.
For us, it gives us credibility because just, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, somebody came in and it was a brand and she placed 5 orders, 100 shirts each, and said, I didn't help her, but I heard her at the front counter and she was talking to somebody here and she said that, man, your all videos are awesome. I watched a bunch of them and that's why I came here. And so I don't know. I think it really helps there. It gives us credibility if we have a presence, whether it's on Instagram, Facebook. Really, that's all we do. And you know, if you're at home and you're looking for somebody, and there's 2 companies to choose from, or 3 or whatever, and one has a presence there that you can relate to, and for sure, it's awesome.
I think a lot of it is just like an online portfolio.
Yeah.
It's just,
I mean, I like the aspect of being able to display your art and stuff like that. And then I have my Instagram connected to my website. So if I post something on Instagram, it populates without me having to do it or pay somebody to do it. I think the biggest thing for me is the stupid inquiries I get. Like I get inquiries all day. What your price is looking like? It's like, damn, like, can you be a little bit more discreet? Like, what are you looking to do? You know what I'm saying? So I've gotten to the point where I'll just be like, hey, shoot us an email. And like the people that are serious, they'll email us. And
that's exactly what I do.
There's been times where like I'll quote somebody on Instagram and then they'll come into the store and they'll be like, well, I got quoted this on Instagram. Well, I don't give all my employees access to my direct messages. So they're coming back, hey, did you quote this person on Instagram? I'm like, well, what's their name? And then I can't find them because their Instagram name is something different. You know what I mean? So maybe I just need to get better at doing it and maybe have somebody else do it. Because to me, more than not, it's kind of annoying, some of the inquiries I get. But yes, we do get a lot of business off of it, being able to display the type of work we do and stuff like that. So I won't say it's been all bad. I think maybe I need to find somebody else to run it because to me, some of the people are just like downright annoying.
I bet that a lot of people that have come to you to place orders saw something on social media of yours and came in and placed an order, or called you and placed an order and never even told you that they saw you.
100%.
You know what I mean? But but we get the same thing. We, just like Dylan said, we get hit up all the time, like how much for a shirt or whatever. And I've never quoted anybody over Instagram. So we just say, hey, what's a good email for you? And then
you just kind of feel like a dick sometimes too, because people will send you something. They're like, hey, you know, even if they kind of know what they're talking about, they're like, hey, I need 100 shirts, 2-color print. What's the price or whatever? And you're just like, hey, send me an email. Like I have an automated thing basically. It says like, send me your artwork info and blah, blah, blah to sales@upstatemerch.com. And they're like, all right, cool, I can do that. But like, what's the price? And I'm like, no, please send me an email. Like, that's the only way I'm going to reply to this. And they're like, all right, cool. But like real quick though, can you give me like a quick price? And I'm like, nah, dude, like for real, you need to just email me because that's the only way I can reply.
Say
like,
$1,000. There you go. So you ballpark it, then you want a real quick price because how do you know? You know what I mean? Like,
I just don't want to, like you said, I don't want to go back and forth. I don't want to have it on 3 different channels. I want to just have all the orders come through the email so that it's all kept track of. We know exactly what happened. And so on. Have you guys,
do you feel like you're at the point in your business? And I don't know how long you guys have been in business. We just passed 11 years, but for a long time, it's like, you find yourself like you're in business, you're responsible for everything. The weight is on your shoulders and you don't want to run people off because you got to keep these presses running. But at the same time, sometimes enough is enough with the way that you tolerate how orders come with you. Like, have you guys gotten to that point where you just have one standard way, like I'm only doing it this way? Or you're like, hey, I'm trying to get orders any way I can? Like, are y'all at that point, or how long ago did you pass that point? Because for me, like I have a lot of overhead with employees and rent and the digital squeegee and stuff like that. So I want to be careful with like running people off, but at the same time, I want to like standardize everything and put my foot down, because the area that I'm in, dude, we've got some creepy crawlers around here that they'll come at you any type of way. And on one hand, I want to be like, nope, we're not doing that. On the other hand, I'll be like, hey, that is a $1,500 job that we could use. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Where are you guys at with that? Like, do y'all bend over backwards for people, or are you just like, nope, this is the way we do it and there's no other way around it?
Yeah. I feel like this is a catch-22 situation though, because that was actually one of the things I had in my notes here that I wanted to talk to you guys about just in general, was being this December, there's things every year that we run into that we're like, why are we still doing this? Like, why are we still allowing this customer to do this thing? And one of the things came up this week where it was basically like, we don't really do contract work, but we have a few customers we've dealt with forever that like, I don't feel like they send us stuff to print on, and it is contract printing, but it's like, it's not like a big account. It's just like some dude that every once in a while sends us a box of shirts, but he sent us a box and it was like thermals and hoodies and tees and some poly and stuff like that. And it's like Nate came in off press and he was like, what the fuck is this? Like, why are we still printing this? This is a box of like, I have to change the ink out twice. I have to change the pallets out for hoodies, and it's like 25 pieces. So it's like stuff like that. It's like you were saying, that you could take that, get the money from that job, but to a point, it's like, how long is that going to sit on press? Because he's got to change it out and do all these other things. And I don't know. I feel like a couple years ago, I just made that decision kind of like with just contract work in general. We used to have a couple customers that we dealt with, and I just told them no at one point. I got so fed up because our like good customers that we're close to and we deal with were suffering because we had so much random jobs that took up a ton of time and didn't pay as well. But it was nice to get that extra check to be like, oh, we have extra money. But once you turn that down and you start focusing like all your time and effort on the stuff you are really good at, like I feel like you end up making way more profit wise with dealing with the people and the jobs that you're good at doing really, like efficiently and quickly and get out the door. You're going to make more money than just like taking random jobs. Cause I feel like anytime you something's like, I don't know if we can do this great, but like, we'll figure it out. I know we can do a good job, but it's going to take some time to figure out. You always end up screwing yourself somehow, or like spending more on it, or ruining some shirts and replacing them. And
I think it changes over time. I think that when you first start, you're hungry and you're trying to build, this, customers, and you need to pay, like you said, you have overhead, you want to pay your rent and whatever else. And so you take those orders and you make them look easy, because you don't complain to the customer like, oh, this sucks. You just take those orders and move on to the next one. And then, like you said, somewhere it turns and you say, wait a second, like, why am I doing this? We're busy, we're here overtime. We don't have to take that order. And so you stop doing that, and you set rules at the front counter or however that order comes in. But there are exceptions, because let's say you have a customer that orders, every week or every month or whatever it is, a lot. And they bring you that box of 25 shirts that for whatever reason they just had, said, hey, I got these at Costco or whatever it is. And you have to say, yes, you don't have to, but we do, because they're a customer. It's a pain in the ass thing to do, but we just take care of it. We just do. And maybe you can convey to them like, look, we don't normally do this, but we'll take care of it for you. I don't know. It's up to you. We usually don't, though. We usually just do it and try to make it look easy and make it easy for them and not to worry about it. But I do hate it. One comes to mind where somebody dropped us, one recent one where somebody dropped us about 100 hoodies, and like the biggest boxes you've ever seen. They weren't like normal boxes that you could hardly move them. And we opened them up, and there's like literally mouse poop in there and stuff. Like they've been sitting in a basement or whatever they've been sitting in for a while.
They bought them at Storage Wars and just wanted to get rid of them.
Probably, maybe, but like they were safety green, and then we got into it and they're staying, and I'm like, okay, stop right here. We're not going to touch these. We're not going to go any further. And we said, hey, you just dropped us, a bunch of hoodies in there. There's junk in them and can't print on them. And so, that I think you have to put your foot down. I think you're right. You have to do that. I think maybe not at first, although if I got that at day one or year one, I would have said no to that one anyway.
Yeah.
But I think I would have anyway. Depends on what kind of, if you had rent that week or not. But there definitely comes a point. We're also 11 years old. We just turned 11 this summer. So we started about the same time. Are you 11 also, Dylan?
Yeah.
For real? We're all the same age?
All
right.
So I turned 11 on September 11th. Like we started September 11th. I think, back to like taking those random orders. I think like in the first place, how I got myself in that situation was trying to be like Superman screen printer. Like I can screen print on anything. Let me show you how good I am. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I can do that. But then when it comes down to it and you're like do we have people, and I don't know if y'all do jobs like this or not, but we have people that'll do like 5 locations of print, like front, back, both sleeves, inside tag. And I'll be like, how many do you want? Oh, what's your minimum? I'm just like, dang, dude, I'm doing 5 locations of print on a minimum order, but I've got these 10 jobs that are front only, but I could run those 10 faster than this one.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think sometimes too, for me, something I need to work on is maybe like educating the customer more and just being straight up and telling them like, dude, you're going to have to pay more for this because I can either do 5 locations for you or I can do 5 jobs for these other 5 people. And when I'm behind, I would rather do 5 orders versus that one. You know what I'm saying? I get more people off my calendar that way. Yep. I think for me going into next year, though, I'm going to be a little bit more upfront with people. And if we do those type of jobs, I just want to make more money on them because honestly, like in my area, we're in Dallas. I'm in Arlington. So we're in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. And there's a ton of print shops here. Like on my street alone, there's like 9 going from like the Grand Prairie side through Arlington into Fort Worth. We have this main road that runs through like 3 cities. There's like 9 screen printers on there. But I don't think that if they took it somewhere else, they could get it done for the price or the quality they would if they brought it here. So going into next year, I'm going to stick to my guns a little bit more and at least charge more for stuff like that because, I don't know, I just find myself when I do those jobs, I start to not care about halfway through it. And then when you start getting on, I'm now on location number 5. So if I mess up some of these, am I going to start over?
Right. That's the biggest pain in the ass with that.
5 of those and start over with location number 1 type of deal.
Yeah.
I think as screen printers, we just need to charge more for stuff like that across the board. But there's so many people in my area that print in their garage or real small shops that'll, price wars and all that. That's why, like, for me personally, I don't ever get big jobs like 1,000-piece orders, 3,000-piece orders. Those are rare for us just because I don't budge on my price. When it gets that high, I'm not going to sit here and print for pennies. Exactly. Like I'm just not. Like there's people around here that if you bring them 1,000 shirts, they'll print them for 50 cents each, and I'm not doing that. Like,
what's your perfect order? Like, what would be your perfect? Like, somebody comes in and wants a 3-color, 100 pieces, 200 pieces. Like, what would be your perfect order?
I like a good 50-piece front only.
50. I was surprised you said 50.
50 shirts, black ink on heather gray.
Well, so the way my price breaks work is after 51, they start to get a pretty decent price break. So I want them to do 50, not 51. And there's been a couple of times I've had to tell my employees, like, dude, don't tell them there's a gigantic price break at 51. If they want 50, just let them pay the 50 price. Like, if they want to get on our website and find that out, great. But don't tell them, hey, if you do one more, it's going to be fucking $1.25 cheaper a unit or something like that. It's like, that's another thing I hate about how there has to be that definitive number where you have a price break. You know what I mean? Like it has to be because everybody in the industry has price breaks at like 50, 100, 150, stuff like that. So
I saw somebody, I don't know how long ago it was. Somebody said that they priced every shirt different. You know what I mean? Like 50, 51, 52, it doesn't matter. It all graduates. There's never a cliff or like a big break. It just gradually gets larger or smaller.
God, how big is their price sheet?
Well, I think it's a spreadsheet. I think that's just automated. You know what I mean? You just plug it in, you say 4-color, 50, and it just spits it out.
I remember probably like, I don't know, it was like 4 years in or something. I feel like every shop I looked at had their pricing online. Like everybody had a price list online. And then like it gradually over like the next like 6-7 years, like all went away. Like I don't know anybody that has their pricing sheet online anymore. It's always like, email us for a price. I
have a full-blown shopping cart and everything. I was going to ask you guys, can can people place orders on your website? Like, do y'all use Inksoft or y'all use anything like that?
I just have it basically where they go on the website and they fill out a full form that has like name, address, phone number, upload the artwork, give us all the shirt sizes, pick your brand, everything down to pretty much where we know what we need to set up an order or give them a price. And then we just immediately hit them back up with like, hey, here's the invoice, here's everything. Or if there's something on there we need to change or talk to them about, then we just switch it. But you can't just go on there and like place an order and like pay right then and there. It's like we more want to custom quote it after the fact.
What about you, Andy? Is your website set up kind of the same as Dylan's?
Yes. Like, so you can't go place an order on our website and be done. No. So we get quotes every day or contacted every day, and there's some details that we want to know, and they put it in. There's a form they can fill out, and they send that shows up in my inbox, and I share it with whoever is in queue or whoever has time. There's really one main person, but if she's busy, then there's another person, and so they have a signature, already in their email, and so they just fill it in whatever.
I think the biggest thing is that we want to take their info, and I mean, once in a while you get somebody who's like really educated and they already know what they want and know what they're talking about. Mm. But a lot of times they just know in their head, like, I need shirts. And then like we look at what they want or what their artwork is, and we try to educate them a little bit and be like, hey, like if this is the kind of thing you're going towards, like a clothing line or, it's a university or whatever, it's like, oh, this shirt would actually be a lot better for you and get more impressions. Like somebody would wear this a lot more than they would wear a Gildan 5000. Or, hey, we'd like to do discharge on this because it would look and feel better versus if we just did standard plastisol and everything. So
I think if they wanted to go buy some shirts online, they can go to Custom Ink. This is more of a
custom.
Yeah, this is a different kind of experience, when you come to our shop. And I would say this, though, that what's really important, I don't know if you guys are the same, but just responding to those fast. Like we are extremely fast.
Yeah, they're looking. So I have a full-blown shopping cart and everything on my website. I tried Inksoft and I didn't like it because like the design studio and I don't know, it just wasn't quick and to the point. Like on my shopping cart, most people that are familiar with it only takes like a minute and a half to like place an order on the website. They upload their artwork. They pick a due date. I have it if they pick it within a 2 or 3 day range. It charges them a rush fee and stuff like that. And most of the time, people, when they order the first time, they don't order online. But if they come into the store and stuff like that, and they're like, oh, well, I drove from Dallas, which is like a 30-minute drive, I'll show them real quick. And I'll be like, hey, if you want to save the drive next time, let me show you how easy this is, especially if you're doing the same order again. Because it doesn't take very long. And then I have like sections on my website. Like I have a page called The Basics, which is like G500, 3001, next level shirts, stuff like that, basic hoodies, stuff like that. And then I have all my top sellers, and I try to be as descriptive, but we do pretty good with our online sales. We probably average 30 to 40,000 a month just on our online sales of it. And for me personally, I like it because a lot of these people, if you let them, they're going to email you back and forth sometimes 20 times with all these random questions. You know what I mean? I found like if you have enough information on your website and about the products and all that, especially if it's something that people have ordered before, you don't have to deal with all that. Like we deal with so many emails. This gets redundant to me sometimes.
Well, yeah. we have Inksoft, so does Dylan. And however, we only use the store function. Platform. Yeah. So we would never want any sort of thing where you could jump on our website and design a shirt and then say, hey, I want to order that because
it's not good artwork.
Well, it's usually not going to be good artwork. And we're known for, we're really strong in design. And so that's that's our competitive advantage. You said there's 9 people on your road, like there's a lot out here too in St. Louis. And we are known as, there's 5 designers here, so
wow.
Every, full time. And so we can handle anything. And Dylan, he has access to the world as far as designers, so like if you, which I, it's way better than a custom ink design or something like that. And so that's not Dylan's customer either. Although I will say that there's a lot of people that show up at our front counter and they have a printout of their custom ink. And they're like, hey, can you make these for us? And what's funny is they'll have the price on there too. And I'm like, don't show me that.
We've always talked about doing this at some point. And it's kind of that like, fuck you money thing where like a customer comes in or emails you that custom ink mock-up and they're like, here's my art. I've always wanted to print their full order with the picture of the custom ink shirt on the front of it and just be like, this is what you gave me. This is the artwork you had. Like the whole mock-up, the whole cropped everything.
So how does custom ink get away with what they do? Like have you guys ever tried to place an order on their website?
No.
Man, I challenge you to do it. Like I'm pretty tech savvy. I got on there one day just because I'm like, how are these guys pulling this off at these prices? So I got on there to place an order because I wanted to see how much something was going to be. Wanted to get the whole checkout experience on that. Dude, I couldn't figure it out. Like there was just so much crap to it. And I was just like, I don't understand how they're pulling this off. And they have a shop close to me. Like they have it's probably 40 miles from me. And they have like 12 manual presses in there. They don't have any autos in there.
I mean, a shop that prints for them.
Huh?
You're talking about a shop that prints for them.
Well, they had their own shop. From the last I heard, I haven't like checked in on them or anything like that. They actually opened up a brick and mortar store inside of a Walmart close to me.
Okay.
And when they did, I was like, oh, custom ink's coming to town. You know, at first, me and some other printers in town were concerned about it, but they shut that down about, I don't know, probably 14 months after it opened. It was gone. I don't think it went very well for them.
Yeah. I don't want to act like I know a whole lot about their business because I just don't. I haven't looked into it a ton. I know obviously it's one of the it's like the Walmart of screen printing basically.
Yeah.
But I think somebody I know went on there and was like getting a quote or something on there. And like the prices actually aren't like crazy cheap, but it was just more, I think it's more just like the convenience factor that they have going for them. They have like the online designer, but the thing is the customers that go to Custom Ink aren't really our customers. They're more like the people who are like, oh shit, like in 2 weeks I need to get shirts for a bar mitzvah or a wedding or Joey's birthday or something. And they go on the online designer and they're like, oh, here's an elephant that says Joey's birthday on it. And then they get like 35 shirts printed. And then Custom Ink just takes it and they go to like, oh, Joey is in New York, so I'm going to send it to a contract printer that I give them the bottom of the barrel pricing to print that job, and then it goes from them to Joey's house or whatever. But the thing is that I've noticed with some of those contractors is they charge like Custom Inks in California, and they're like, okay, well, shipping from us is $45 when realistically it's coming from an hour away from some other print shop that's, shipped it for $8. So
first of all, I've printed that shirt, Joey's birthday. I've done that before. So
not surprised.
Pretty big coincidence. I was going to ask, so we're all 11 years old, and in dog years, I think that'd be 77. But
that's how we feel. All three of us, that's how we feel.
Like 97 right now. I've been working like 80 hours a week for the last couple months.
Well, so we've been talking for quite a while, but like I do generally want to know, like how did you get started into printing and what got you here?
All right, well, let's get into it, man. I started screen printing in 1999. I got a job at a sports promotion network on December 23rd of 1999. And if you've ever been to like a high school game and their cheerleaders are like throwing out like footballs or little, pennants or Frisbees or stuff like that. And it's like, Go Eagles, sponsored by McDonald's. That was the business I worked for. I worked for the original one, and there's been a lot of copycats since then. But I worked for the original one there, and I worked there for, I want to say about 8 years. They weren't doing T-shirts at the time. It was just one of those, everything they did was one color. Everything they did was pretty sloppy. You send 50 of them to the school, and you send one of them to the people that sponsored it. So I got to where I was pretty much running that shop. And then all these other little copycats started popping up. They're like, oh, they're making millions a year doing that. We can do that. We can call these schools and all that. So they started popping up. And then a few of them started wanting to do their own printing. So some of the people that worked there knew me, and they're like, well, hey, this guy knows how to run all the machines. He knows how to get them all set up. So I literally started going to the highest bidder. I worked for 4 different ones that popped up. I would set up their shop, and by the time I would get that going, somebody else would call me and be like, hey, we're trying to set up a shop over here. And I was like, how much you trying to pay me? So I literally started 4 of those shops going to the highest bidder. And then the last one I worked at, me and the owner became pretty cool. He was a cool guy. And then my wife got pregnant. And I told him, I was like, dude, I need to make more money. I was like, I got a baby on the way. I'm in my mid-30s or getting into my mid-30s. He gave me a small raise and he was like, this is the absolute most you will ever make for me. And I was like, this isn't going to work. And then I just asked him, I'm like, dude, is there anything else I can do to make money? I was like, do you care if I run some side jobs? Like, can I run a couple of jobs on my own here and there? He's like, yeah, dude, go for it. So the first little side job I did was for a block party we had in my neighborhood. And I made some shirts. That was my contribution to the block party. And if everybody on the street is like, oh, you make shirts? I could use some for my son's soccer team. Oh, you do it? Oh, yeah. So I started doing these side jobs. And because I wasn't paying for any of the supplies, like he wasn't charging me anything, I would basically order shirts on his account. And at the end of the week, I would just bring him cash for whatever I ordered, right? Well, I was selling, these were my prices. I was selling white shirts for $3, gray shirts for $4, and colored shirts for $5. There was no art fees. There was no nothing. My minimum was 12 pieces. There was literally orders. I did 12 custom shirts for $36.
Printed.
And so after a while, I started learning.
Printed shirts? Printed shirts?
Printed. Because I wasn't paying for anything. I was just buying the blanks. The crew at that shop, they were printing everything. You know, the owner, he was never there. And he told me I could do it. So shit, I'm doing it, you know? And so when you're doing shirts for that cheap, you start building clientele pretty quick. You know what I mean? So after a while, you know, I would take him cash at the end of the week, and it started becoming where I was giving him $3,000 or $4,000 a week. And I remember one week handing him almost $5,000 in cash. That's how much I was starting to do more than they were. And so I brought him all this cash, and he was like, damn, how many fucking shirts are you doing back there? And I told him, I was like, dude, I'm doing a lot. He's like, we're going to have to partner up, dude. He's like, I can't just let you do all this shit like this. He's like, we're going to have to partner up. And he's like, dude, I told him, I was like, dude, I'm not doing that. And he was like, well, then you're not going to be able to do these shirts back here no more. He's like, I'm not just going to let you print all this shit. You're making all this money, and I'm sitting here with my dick in my hand, basically. And so I told him, I was like, dude, then maybe I should take my shot. I was like, I think I want to start my own shop. I was like, I helped build your shop. I built all these shops for people that don't know jack about printing. I was like, I think this is my time, dude. I think I'm going to start my own shop. And he told me, he's like, you're going to fail, dude. He's like, don't do this. You're going to fail. And I was like, why do you say that? He's like, dude, you suck at managing your money. You used to ask for your check early all the time. And I was like, dude, I got this good thing going. I was like, I really feel like I can do it. He's like, come on, partner up with me. And I said, bro, I'm out of here. And he's like, are you serious? He's like, dude, you were one dumb fucking white boy. And that's where DFW came from.
I thought that was Dallas or Fort Worth this whole time.
It is to most people. But when me and my wife were deciding on this name, she brought up the DFW thing. I was like, fuck yeah, we're doing this, because it's always like a personal meaning for me. And because, he told me that I was going to fail. He told me I was the dumb fucking white boy. He told me there was no way I was going to make it. And to this day, I still talk to him. He actually just quit, but one of my employees rents a house from him. So he used to come here once a month to collect rent. And when he would walk in, there would always be like a new dryer, or there would always be like something new I could show him. And he finally admitted, he was like, dude, you fucking did this thing, man. He's like, you surprised me, man. He's like, good job. But that's kind of how I got into it. It just bumping around the promotional side of things. And to be honest with you, when I started this t-shirt business, every shirt I had ever done were white t-shirts. They were all the promotional things. I sucked at flashing shirts. I sucked at doing separations. I just threw myself into this. And the crazy thing about it is, when I quit that job, that was like 3 weeks before our baby was born. And so my wife had taken off work too. We quit our job, started a business, bought a house, all within the span of like 3 weeks. And here I am printing shirts in my garage while my wife's not working, with all this pressure on me. And I had to go buy all my equipment. I spent almost all my savings between buying my manual, all my inks, all my screens, putting the down payment on the house, all that stuff. I looked up, and in December, I had like $1,500 in my bank account. And I was like, shit, maybe I am a dumb fucking white boy. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to pull this off.
Yeah, but without all those pressures, without that ex-boss kind of being a dick, you wouldn't have had as much motivation to fucking do what you're doing. You know what I mean? If you were just like, oh, I'll just go do this. And like, if you would have started failing, you would have been like, oh, fuck it. But with all these people being like, you know, like your wife and kid, like needing you, and this boss being like, you'll never do it. Every time something little came along where you could have quit, you're like, nah, fuck this.
Yeah. You got that extra little motivation.
Have you seen The Last Dance yet? You guys watched that yet?
The Michael Jordan?
Yeah.
Oh
yes.
I did see that.
So
I thought you were talking about some like dancing movie.
I was like, Garth Brooks.
No, it just reminded me of that because, you know, you had this reason, you know, this guy told you, you're going to fail and you're like, oh, I'll prove it to you. And then you had this pressures, like Dylan said, of, you know, a new house, a baby on the way and all these kind of things. And so, you know, that forced you to do it. That forced you to say, okay, well, I'm all in now. Like, it just doesn't even matter. And so without that hunger, you know, it's, I don't know. And maybe it wouldn't have happened.
That's something you kind of need. I look back and I wouldn't change anything about any course of my business. You know what I mean? Like when I said, when I started, I was printing shirts in my garage. I had a horrible work ethic. I was working from home. I would print shirts till like 2 or 3 in the morning, sleep till like noon. I would go to the car wash and wash screens. But after doing it for like a year and ruining the carpet in our house with ink everywhere and all that, I was like, okay, let me quit being a puss and let's go rent a building. So I rented this little building that was like $800 a month. And I did that for a year. And then every year I kind of moved into a bigger spot until I settled into our current place, which I hope I can stay in for a while. But now that I got this new equipment in, I'm looking around. I'm like, dude, I'm kind of maxed out around here. So I don't know. You just kind of roll with the punches and take the growth that you can. But yeah, dude, I wouldn't change anything about my course. It's been crazy, but it's definitely been worth it.
How do you go from the garage to digital Squeegee?
So the digital Squeegee fell into my lap. I was in here printing. I say it fell into my lap. It wasn't that easy, but so when we were in quarantine and all, I got back in here by myself and the dollar signs just started rolling in my head again. And I started counting everything, dude. Like I was counting how many screens can I clean with, you know, a 5 gallon of this, how many screens can I tape up with a roll of tape? I started just getting back to the basics, right? And then as I started bringing people back on, well, one of the things when I was in here by myself and I set up an 8-color job by myself, I was like, dude, this is ridiculous. Like this takes forever to set up an 8-color job, change out all the squeegees, might have to mix some inks, do all that. You've got it, as Andy refers to, in the dreaded revolver mode. And it's just not worth it. But those jobs are all over the place. Like we get approached for 6, 7, 8 color jobs all the time. So as I started bringing people back, I'm watching this one guy running my 10 color press, and all we do on the 10 color were 5 colors or more. We do everything else, 4 colors or less on the 8 color press. I'm just watching him set up these jobs, and it's just taking forever. And then I'm watching this guy clean screens all day long, just taking forever. And I was like, I need to hire that press operator, a helper, so that, he's not setting up these jobs by himself. And then we're obviously spending a lot of time on reclamation because of all those jobs. So in May and June, I did a grip of work and I was able to save $80,000 in May and June. So just out of curiosity, I got with M&R and Geneva Capital, and I was like, dude, if I put down $80,000 on that digital Squeegee, what are my payments going to be? And they told me, and it pretty much equated to the same thing as if I were to hire another press operator to help on press, if I were to hire a full-time screen cleaner. I was like, I could either buy this machine and not need those 2 people, or I could hire those 2 people and wonder how long they're going to work here. Because whenever we did shut down, I lost people immediately. They told me like, hey, I'm going to go get a job over here and this and that. And I started looking, I was like, dude, that dude's worked here for 3 years. I've paid him like $100,000 and now he does nothing for me, And so when I'm looking at stuff like that, I start looking at all the former employees that don't work here. It's like, dude, that's like $400,000 worth of salary I paid these guys, and they'll never benefit my business ever again. So we started taking a look at the digital Squeegee and everything that it could do for us. And I was just like, I want to invest in equipment to where I don't need as many people to do this anymore. And that's what we did. And so far it's working out good, because we used to make screens all day long. And now we're done making screens at like 11 o'clock, and we only clean screens for half a day now versus a full day. So for me, it was just more of, I wanted to invest in technology and equipment more than I wanted to invest in people that are at some point aren't going to work for you.
Yeah. No, I fully get it. I've had that same thought and discussion here. Like we had one the other day because, like I said, like Randy's out of town, and we're kind of struggling to keep up right now. And it's like, how many people would it actually take to run this shop if we got a digital squeegee, like you said, because then there'd be less screens to clean, less inks to mix, all that stuff. And I'm like, man, if we just got one of these, I wouldn't have to hire like 3 more people. I've had that same discussion.
If you're needing 3 more people, then instead of those 3 people, you could easily afford a digital squeegee. Just put a good little chunk down.
But you didn't just buy a digital squeegee though, too. You bought
I brought the press to go with
it. The striker to go with it, right?
That striker is a beast, man. It's taking some getting used to. Like you can't like hold down the reset button and spin the tables.
Yeah.
Like you have to hold there's a button on every head that you hold, and it just kind of starts indexing around towards it.
It's the same as the gauntlet.
Same as the gauntlet.
Yeah. So that press, I will tell you this, it's built for big runs. I'm doing whatever I can on it right now, but that press is built for good runs. Like it's 22 stations. I have 4 flashes, hot head. This is a good press. It just takes a lot to get used to from going to, like a sportsman to a striker. Like the setup time, it seems like it's really slow, but you're only setting up 3 screens, so it's really not.
So I fucked
it up. Like
what are you setting up? So say a typical job with the digital squeegee, what are you doing?
So all I do on this striker is digital squeegee work, and it's all either 2 screens or 3 screens, depending on like the shirt color. Unless you get into doing like some red dry fits and you want to use like a barrier base or whatever. But yeah, so we have it set up where we're just doing white, clear. That's all we do on that. Those are the only 3 colors that hopefully I will ever do on that. And anything 4 or 5 colors or more, we put on the digital squeegee.
So does it go head 1? Does it go like this? White flash, cool, white flash, cool. So you already got 6 heads used up, and then the digital squeegee after that, and then you have to go a coat on top, right?
Clear.
Yeah. So the way I have it set up, they were like, "Oh, well, you need all." I told them, I was like, "Dude, I'm running white, clear all day long on this, and we're going to be like a NASCAR pit crew. I'm going to use 3 people to set it up, white, clear all day long." And they're like, "Well, you want to have some extra heads on there in case you ever want to add some this and that." I'm like, "Dude, I'm doing white, clear. That's what I'm buying this machine for. That's all I want." But my rep, Ryan Barger, he talked me into buying a few print heads for down the home stretch in case I ever do want to add like a high density or a puff or like a metallic or something like that. So
real quick though, I want to interrupt you. Barger's awesome.
Barger's a badass. He is. So I met Barger. So one of those shops that I said I went and set up, they ordered this old gauntlet. And when I say old, they bought it off Equipment Zone for like $6,000. And when it came in, it was in shambles. And I basically put it together the best I knew how. It was like the first gauntlet install I ever did. And I started printing jobs on it. And like one table would be like 1 inch out of registration. Some of them 2. So I called M&R and I'm like, "Yeah, you guys got this gauntlet and it's just not running." "Well, who put it together?" I was like, "I put it together." They're like, "Well, did you use your registration bar in this?" I was like, "What's that?" So they sent Barger out. And he basically laughed at me. He's like, "I'm going to get this right, but this is hilarious." So anyways, that was like 16 years ago. And I've known him ever since, man. He stays like 6 miles from my shop. And I feel bad for him sometimes because he's no longer a technician. But if I have something happen, he's like the first person I call.
Well, it's funny because like the other day I had an issue with the dryer, and it wasn't really anything super wrong with the dryer. It was more my own issue. And Barger called me. Like I was trying to call tech support and all this other stuff, and Barger called me, and he's like, he was at another shop. I don't know whose shop he was at. And he was like, "Oh, I'll help you." And like, we walked through the whole thing, and just like randomly he'll call me and just start like talking shit, which is just funny. Cause he's not my rep. He's just an M&R dude. And he's just a good guy. So he helped me through the whole dryer issue the other day, and he didn't have to. It was just took the time out of his day. And
he's like tried and true. He's like the old school M&R, like him and Hoffman. Then I had Bob come out and do the install on my striker. Like some of those guys that have been with M&R like for a long time, like they kind of share that same passion that Hoffman does. And it kind of makes you wonder like where M&R is going to be in 20 years from now, because truthfully, like M&R is what it is because of the passion that some of the original guys put into this. Like, I don't know if you guys ever watched that factory tour on YouTube that Hoffman did. It's like 20 episodes. I was just amazed. Like that dude knew everything about every single component of an M&R press. And now that Hoffman's like retired and stuff like that, you wonder like, is that passion going to fade away at some day? You know what I'm saying? Because
well, have you ever taken the tour in Chicago?
I never have. No,
it's awesome.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
I did it with Rich, like, I don't know, a couple of years ago, right before he retired. And yeah, it was like, he could have probably done the tour in half an hour. I think it took us like 4 hours.
Yeah.
Because we were just shooting the shit the entire time. And he was, going through every little detail about the presses and bitching about how he over-engineered something and how, that nobody's ever going to have to replace that part because like he took so much time to like figure it out and like all this other stuff. And it was just, that's what sold me the most. It's just that him being a good dude, not necessarily, I mean, everything else is super impressive, but just like him being a good guy and the people that you deal with being good guys or good girls or whatever, like that's what sold me on going with that equipment.
Yeah. And once you get so far, like, I mean, I have a Unicode, I have an iImage, I got a Sprint 3000, I got a Sportsman, I got a Cruiser, I got a Striker, a digital Squeegee. I've got like 8 flashes in my shop. And like I was telling Barger, like when I bought the digital Squeegee, I put the money down. I'm like, what's the ship date on? He's like, it's going to be about 12, 13 weeks. I was like, what? 12 to 13 weeks? I was like, dude, can you imagine putting down almost $100,000 and it just sits there for months? I was like, dude, that is painful. I was like, how do y'all get away with that? And it's just because once you go so far in with M&R equipment, like, what are you going to do? Start bringing in a workhorse or, it's just like, I don't know. That's just the way it is. Like once you
they got screwed with COVID stuff too. They went from 400 people to like 100 people. So all that stuff.
Speaking Amazon. Of that, what was training like with the digital Squeegee? Or what was install like? So I'm just curious, how long did it take you to get up and running and know how to use it?
So they told me that the install would be 7 to 10 days. And I'm like, no. I said, we're putting this son of a bitch together in like 3. And Barger was like, dude, this is a big deal. He's like, don't rush it. Clear out your schedule. Do what you got to do and let these guys do their thing. My shop was a wreck for days. Like, I'm not kidding you, dude. I mean, you see the way this M&R stuff comes crated. Imagine an 1822 Striker with a DS, with several flashes, with foggers. With
enough wood to build a house.
Like, first of all, getting it off the truck, people don't realize just getting a piece of equipment like that, or whether it's a Sprint or a Cobra or something like that, getting it off the truck is a whole project. Getting it off the truck and into your shop. Huh?
It took us 4 hours to unload that truck. We had stuff all over the parking lot back there. And so what happened was I traded in my 10-color Sportsman. Graphic Solutions, which is like my dealer down here, they bought my 10-color Sportsman. And the way it kind of coincided, they were here taking out the 10-color Sportsman the same day the digital Squeegee came in. So we had people everywhere. It was absolute hysteria in my shop for a few days. But once everything started to get clear and they started to get the install going, it started getting pretty smooth. I think I did my first test print about 4, maybe 5 days after the truck came. But the registration of that digital Squeegee, like registering it to your iImage, is like a day and a half process. And like for somebody like me, like I don't have that kind of patience. I'm like, I want to print this. I want to see what this looks like. I actually came in here and started using it before they even knew I was going to. And just because I was so excited, and it was out of registration, but I just wanted to play with that thing and I wanted to start learning. But the whole entire process from the day the truck got here to the day that we were in registration and everything was about 8 days. And which was kind of painful to me because I wasn't planning on that. You know what I mean? Even though they told me that's what it was going to be, I thought that they were just kind of adding on to it. But it is a process. And I had no idea how many adjustments there were to your iImage, to your Tri-Lock palette and all this different stuff that they can do to kind of start zeroing that in. Because the thing about registering your digital Squeegee is it's not necessarily screen printing anymore. I mean, your white is, but like if you're running a 3-color job on a Sportsman and you got a little red peeking out, you got a ton of options. You want to double hit it. You want to micro your red screen. You don't have those options with a digital Squeegee. So the registration of it is like super important. And it's like Like they move it in tenths of millimeters. Like it's crazy.
So let's say you like you said, you go white, clear. Those three screens, those white, clear, that you have that registered to the digital squeegee. Like you're never microing much, or are you?
So instead of microing your screens, you can move the digital squeegee. And I would say you can move it within tenths of millimeters. So the thing is with artwork, and this is the thing, like when you get a digital squeegee, I won't say everything you know about artwork gets thrown out the window, but you have to like adapt to new methods, because what you want to do is you want to contract your underbase and you want to expand your colors a little bit to allow that digital ink just to kind of fall off onto the shirt. Because the digital ink, unless you're using it on a white shirt or like a light yellow or something like that, like you can't see it on a black shirt like at all. So if you expand your colors enough to hide that underbase, you're not going to be able to see it. It's just going to cover the underbase, and then the rest just falls onto the shirt. So to answer your question, I don't micro my screens unless my two whites aren't perfectly aligned. So once we get our white clear within registration, which is usually pretty dead on the first time, if the digital squeegee is off a little bit, you just move it. You can move it up, down.
So you tri-lock your white clear, and then you run your test print, and let's say it's out just slightly, and you didn't. It's not undercut enough or choked or whatever you've done. You can micro the digital squeegee just slightly. That's your move.
You can, or I have. So I have two computers at my digital squeegee. One of them runs the digital squeegee itself. It has its own software. And then I have a separate computer that I use to rip the files, and I have Photoshop and stuff in there. So if you wanted to, you can either move your digital squeegee a little bit, or you can go into Photoshop, make some adjustments in there, re-rip it, and start printing again right there on press.
Oh, I got you. I got you.
So it's not like you're having to reburn screens and stuff like that. I think the most important thing for someone that's looking at getting a digital squeegee is make sure your artwork files are good. Make sure you kind of know what you're getting into, because it was kind of shocking how accurate this thing is to me. I'm not going to lie. Like that print head sits on, when we're running on t-shirts, that print head sits 1.8 millimeters above that shirt. Like it's scary. Like if you were to put a comfort color shirt on the pallet and not pull the like inside tag out towards like up under the shirt, you're going to hit the shirt.
It reminds me a little bit of DTG, because it was sometimes that close.
Like it's precise, man. And for somebody like me, dude, my shop is like extremely fast paced. I'm having to like teach myself to like slow down a little bit. Like slow down, make sure your setups are right, check your print head height, make sure you got everything ready, and then go. Because for me, it's just like go, hurry. I'm having to like kind of change my philosophy on how fast I go, and just more like, get it done right the first time type of deal.
So how many guys in your shop did it affect, as far as like the guy printing, the art department, screens, stuff like that? Does pretty much everybody have to adapt?
No. So here's the backstory on that. So when I got the digital squeegee, I had almost brought everybody back, right? I was down still 2 people from before COVID layoffs and all that. And like I said, I had a guy that had been here 10 years and one that had been here like 6 or whatever. And I was paying one dude $20 an hour, and one guy was on salary of $1,200 a week, which we've only been working like 40 hours. I calculate, like, dude, you're getting paid $30 an hour. It's not like you're in here 50 hours a week. So I started getting these minuscule complaints. Like we have a bagging machine, so we bag a lot of our orders. And it's like people calling, hey, y'all didn't bag my order. And I just took them in my office one day and I was like, dude, I'm not tolerating this anymore. Like the money that you guys are getting paid, I should not get hardly any complaints. Like I get it, it's screen printing, shit happens. But forgetting to bag up somebody's order is unacceptable to me at this point. So I was like, you guys can either go out there and get this right, or if you don't like it, y'all can just fucking roll. So they left. Like right when I'm getting this digital squeegee. So all my plans on how I'm going to execute all this shit go right out the window. So I'm standing here, I'm looking around, and guess who's the fucking best screen printer in the building is me. Everybody else is like, they're a good helper, or they're okay on the manual. I was like, dude, I'm way too busy right now to start training people. So I'm like, well, looks like I'm putting my fucking printer pants back on for the rest of the year, because I just don't have time to train people right now. So the way I'm running things right now is I have a guy that does my artwork. He does my separations, build my underbases for the digital squeegee, and makes the screens for the digital squeegee. While he's doing that and gets everything lined up for the DS, me and one of my helpers are banging out the jobs that aren't on the digital squeegee on the Sportsman and manual. Then pretty much after lunch, we do all the digital stuff. So it's like half a day. And that's the thing too, is like for me and my schedule, adjusting, like normally a job that would take an hour, now it takes like 12 minutes. That's been like in a good way, it's been an adjustment I've had to make, because I feel like I'm running behind. I'm like, oh my God, it's 1:30. We haven't even started using the DS yet. I'm going to be late today. And then all of a sudden I get done early because the setup times are like 2 minutes and then you're off and running.
You know, it might actually work out for the better, because like equipment here that we get, new equipment that we get here, some of the stuff that we get I've just dreamt of forever since I was out of the garage. And so here is this brand new piece of equipment like the Unicode or something. Like I want to use it. You know, I've been coding manually my whole life. And so here I got this fancy machine. How cool is it that I get to use it too? But what's better and what's more important, I think, is that I know how to use it. So I know if I need to go there because somebody's gone, I can actually go use it. Or if I need to come in on a Saturday and code screens, I can come in on a Saturday and code screens. Or if I'm using it and I know the ins and outs, or I know how we could be more efficient. I mean, you're not going to know that stuff unless you're actually using it. And so for you to be using the digital squeegee right now, like the first person to use it, you're going to learn it. You're going to know how you want to run it. And when somebody comes in, you'll be able to train them and say, here's how it needs to be run. But without that, how do you know how you want to run it necessarily? And also, you've probably been dreaming about it for a while. You probably want to run it.
No, dude, I love it. I love running it. And that's the thing too, like whenever we shut down and I got in here and I was doing everything by myself. When I say by myself, I mean everything: reclaiming screens, coding, iMage, loading, unloading, stacking, sorting, all of it. What I noticed is I haven't been using this equipment. I had a full blown crew and I was pretty much just overseeing everything. And so when I got in here, I was like, dude, I've built like a screen printer's paradise in here. Like we have a coder, an iMage, we've got the Trilog. Like, dude, this is easy. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So when I got in here doing it on my own, I realized like, dude, we've got some good equipment in here. There's no reason why everything we do shouldn't be like world class, because the system that I've got in place, like in my mind, there's not really a better system to do, except I'm kind of jealous. You got the Ecotex reclaim system, but hearing your interview with Mamos, or how's that going? Like, do you swear by that thing? Or are you still kind of getting comfortable with it? What's up with the Ecotex?
Well, you know how you said you wash screens out at the car wash? Well, that's how I did mine too. I'd load them up in the back of my Ford Explorer. I'd put like plastic down and I'd load screens in there and drive to the car wash and line both sides of the bay and just blast them out. And that was great. Sometimes, it was fast and I just got it done, and that's what I had to do. But having this Ecotext, I don't mind running it. Like I actually, if I get to go put my, some headphones on and listen to a podcast and go run it, I don't care. Like that's fine. I'll run it for an hour or two. And part of it's because I'm standing there doing it and I'm just like, I know where I came from and now I get to use this machine, and how grateful I am for that. I mean, it's badass. As far as, talking to EasyWay and the problems I was having with Chamber 2, it was still working. Like screens were still running through it and coming out the other end clean. I was just experiencing issues with the chemical and keeping the right chemical in there. And then Chamber 3, like they'd come out clean, but I would have some chunks of emulsion. And so I think that you would have that with any auto reclaim. You're going to have to get your chemicals right. It's just one of those things, because you're not dealing with a dip tank where it just doesn't matter so much anymore. It's going through a machine. And so it has to time out just right. And your chemicals have to be just right. Just like anything, just like the autocoder or anything else, you're going to have to learn it. Whenever you automate, it always makes things harder before they become easier, I've thought.
Yeah.
And the last thing I would say is to the point you made earlier about automating, it's just like I've always done that and always said that. Just automate, because it makes your shop more efficient. You get to take people that were doing that job and have them do something else now that maybe is better or more, or they want to do more, and it makes your product at the end, the quality goes up. So I'm all about that automating too.
So that Ecotext, are you just putting in screens one after another, or you have to let them go all the way through? Or like how many screens an hour or a day? Because that's honestly probably my next piece of equipment, because the guy I have cleaning screens right now, like he completely creeps me out. Like everything about him creeps. I'm not lying, dude. Like I'll tell him, I'll be like, hey, I want you to do screens until 1:30, and he'll come up to me like, and then what would you like for me to do? And I'm just like, oh my God, dude, get away from me. Like, I don't know what it is.
He's whispering it in the backside of your neck.
Dude, he's like, you seen Mr. Deeds, how his butler like just pops up on him?
Very sneaky.
Yeah, he's like the same way. It's like, dude, I'll turn around and he'll be like on my shoulder. What would you like for me to do now? And I'm just like, oh my God, dude.
God, that sounds like the perfect employee, actually. It's like, what do I do next?
To be honest with you, he's here every day. Like, he's the first one here every day and all that. But it's just like, I don't know. If I do, when I do get an Ecotex, I'm going to like probably keep him and do something else just because he's been pretty loyal. But so how many screens are you doing with that Ecotex a day?
All right, I'll keep this to 30 seconds because Dylan started like, he's going to probably sign off here because he doesn't want to hear about my Ecotex again. But you and I, we can have a conversation. You and I will talk and we'll, we can call each other.
Well, you've got a 20-minute video that you could send him about running.
I do have that. I do have that too. But
send it to me. Is Dylan like hating or what? Like, what's the deal?
No, I've just heard this story like 95 times.
Yeah, he doesn't care about me or my Ecotex. So but he has heard the story a lot, so it's probably boring as shit.
Well, no, hold on. The truth of it is that pretty much in every episode that we've talked to another print shop or whatever, there's always like 3 things that we always end up talking about that are super important to everybody. One of them is screens. So that was a question I was going to ask you is like, what are you using for like statics or Newmans or whatever? What mesh are you using? And then we always talk about like reclaim for those screens. So that's why we always get into the discussion about the Ecotex. And then,
well, isn't that funny? Because the Ecotext always enters the conversation. Isn't that interesting? I think because that's a main problem for every shop. Yet they don't want to invest in that. They don't want to buy
conversations, Dylan.
What's that?
I said, I'm sorry that I've missed those conversations. And
No, it's okay. It's good because everybody's take on it is a little bit different. So, that's kind of how I do a lot of research too, is I just talk to a bunch of people and get their experiences. Cause you can go talk to Barger or whoever, and they're going to be like, oh yeah, Ecotex by far, like best piece of equipment you can get. But he's also a salesman. Like, not that Barger wouldn't tell you the truth, but like you go to your reps and you're like, oh, what should I buy? It's always their product. It's always like, oh, you have to buy this. This one's the best. But like you go start talking to printers and they're like, yeah, well, I bought this, works great. But, and then it's like, this is where we're getting out the butt stuff. The butt stuff. But I don't know. I've done my homework on and bought all of them at this point. And
do either one of you guys have an Eco Rinse?
I do, yeah.
And he does.
You do? How do you feel about it? Because that's not a super expensive piece of equipment that I'm thinking about getting as well. Did that make an immediate impact for you, or is it just like kind of a toy?
We use it every day. It's not a toy. It makes an impact for us every day. I would say maybe for you, since your screen making is being reduced with the digital squeegee. I don't know if it's the move, necessarily the next move anyway. But for us, because we do still make 8 screens for an 8-color job. That it's awesome. I had for 6 hours a day, I had somebody with a garden hose and a nozzle spraying, making screens, rinsing screens for us, and usually they turned out pretty good 90% of the time or whatever it was. But we had problems on press where you didn't get this little part, or this part because you're just doing so many. EcoRinse, you can set recipes just like you can with a lot of the M&R equipment. And so you set your recipe for whatever it is and how many, you set your recipe for how many passes or how much pressure. And it works every time. I cannot remember the last time a screen didn't spray out of the way on press. But, and then a real quick abbreviated version for the Ecotext is you don't put one screen in at a time. There's a chase and you put 2 in it, and you can put 3 chases. For each chamber, there's a chase in it. So like as it enters, it goes into the first chamber 1, and it's doing its wash. It has 701 in there, and then that moves to chamber 2, and then another chase moves into chamber 1. And in chamber 2, it's reclaiming like a dip tank. In chamber 1, it's doing the wash again. And then it moves to the power wash station, which is chamber 3. And then the one that was in 1 moves to 2. And then the one that, you have the chase to go. So there's always 6 screens in there. If you're running it for, production, there's always 6 screens in there. There's 4 chases that come with it. And so you can have another chaser ready to go, but we always just run 3 because it's just so fast. it's fast enough and it works for us. So,
man, I got to say that, and this is my chemical plug here. Easy Way is the shit. When the Easy Way first came to me and they're like, no, we've got a chemical that'll do all of this in a dip tank. I was like, there's no way. My graphic solutions rep was like, hey, I've got a representative from Easy Way who wants to come show you this chemical. And I was like, dude, there's no way that you're telling me that shit's going to strip off ink and emulsion.
Dylan, you got your chemical last week, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
I immediately dumped it down the drain.
Are you not?
Alex, did you hear that shit?
It's funny. I'm going to ruin this now, but we were talking about how we got it in and we do want to use it. We do want to try it, but we have chemical in the tank from before that we're still using. But me and Chris were going to, after we put it in the tank and got it all ready, we were going to make a video of us like refilling it and then send a video to you and Alex of us dumping it down the drain and saying, yeah, this is the easiest way to get rid of it. And just like dumping it down the drain.
Like it was just water.
Dude, you would not believe the last time I changed my dip tank. Like if I told y'all, you wouldn't believe it. Like if
There's
you
probably
saw
like a foot of sludge at the bottom of it or something.
I'm probably close to 18 inches. Like no lie. Like I don't even put my screens like down into the dip tank. I just lay them flat. I lay 2 of them in there flat. So as long as I got a little bit of water that doesn't have sludge. And the thing about it is that shit still works, man. It still works. It's awesome. I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's a good chemical.
Yeah.
But as far as my screens, Dylan, you had asked that. I'm still using stretching glue. I keep my screens in good rotation. I have probably about I got 450 screens that I use. I'm probably going to go with Newman roller frames though. Like when I got this striker in the stroke on a digital squeegee, it'll print 15 by 19, which I can't get a 19-inch stroke on my 23 by 31 screens. So my plan was to get it in here and to get some stretching glue 25 by 36 screens because
that's what we have.
Yeah, the first quote I got when I started advertising this digital squeegee is like, oh, I want 15 by 19. I'm like, well, fuck, I guess I'm going out and buying a bunch of new screens for this. So I kind of just wanted to, get it in here, use it, learn a little bit about it, and then I'm going to move to that bigger screen size. And when I do, I'm probably going to use Newman roller frames. And that goes along with, like, you guys were talking with Mamos about when you automate stuff, it lets you know how bad your process is and that you really need to get better at everything to do things right, And that's kind of the way it is for me. Like my screens aren't the tightest in the world. You know what I mean? When you're using stretching glue and some of these things, man, I've used them 100 times. They're starting to get not so tight anymore. It just makes you, it makes you better your process the whole way. Like it almost forces you into it. You know what I mean? It's like when you have a technician in here and they're doing everything, they've got all this lined up and they're like, yeah, but look at your screen tension on it. I'm just like, yeah, you kind of got me on that one. I ain't really got a rebuttal for that because that bitch is a little loose. So that's one thing I'm going to move into.
I think that's the problem with, or why there are doubters or people that use the Tri-Lock and it doesn't work for them is
because they're having other issues.
They're having other issues. Like the number one is the screen tension issue. So when I put that video up on Friday, I had some doubters contact me or just people were like, wow, how do you register that so fast? But it wouldn't be so fast if I have tensions all over the place. They're not just willy-nilly. Who knows what it is? I mean, we have a tension meter for a reason. And so everything, 90% of the jobs we set up, we don't micro. I don't know the exact number, but it's something like 90%. We don't touch them.
That's pretty much the same for us.
I sometimes go 4 jobs on the Cobra and without ever touching a micro, and I don't think people realize that. They're still doubters. Like, does that really, so you're telling me that the Tri-Lock works? I'm like, I don't know how else to put it because I think there's some people out there that say the Tri-Lock sucks, doesn't work. And I think that's probably because they have tensions that are sometimes 12 and then maybe or even if they have a tension that's decent, there's one that's not, or there's one that's not the same, or there's one that's really high, maybe on a fresh screen and just never going to work, exactly. And so anyway, that's my.
So are you using roller?
No, we're like we use static. So.
Well, I guess I gotta throw this out there because we've had so many discussions about screens that I finally gave in, had a long conversation with Frank at GSF, and I just ordered a bunch of screens, static hydros. So I am copying Andy. I got the Upstate merch special, not the Shirt Kong special.
Oh, come on.
How many do you guys have in your shop?
I don't even know. A couple hundred.
We're like you. We're in the 500 range.
Do y'all have some of your screens that are named? Like there's that one screen that has that weird ass corner and it just seems to come around. Or I've got this one frame. I've got this one screen in my shop. I swear to God, it weighs like 40 pounds. Like the frame on that thing is like solid iron. It's like every now and then here comes that heavy ass fucking screen. I'm like, well, here it is again, back in the dark. Like, it's crazy how if you're like hands on like me, and I'm like super hands-on right now. I'm like a big part of this process. I know these screens by name almost. I don't have them named per se, but I'm like, oh, there goes that screen with that fucking dent.
There goes Beth.
Yeah. Oh, Betsy around there. You guys use Printavo? What are you running your shop software on?
No. Andy uses what, Monday?
No, I use Post-it notes.
That's what I do.
I copy. Dylan copies me on some stuff, and I copy.
I take a lot of shit for this, but like realistically, it works really, really well, and everything here is super efficient. So you guys can go fuck yourselves. But yeah, like there definitely is going to be things with shop management software that's going to make things faster or more efficient here. I probably should start looking into it more. But for the first 11 years, we've done it the same way, and it works. It's just one of those things that you need to take some time and take a step and train your whole staff and be like, hey, there's something new and better out there that we need to do. But when you're busy and things are working and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's kind of where we're at. But yeah, I've had consultations from Inksoft and Printavo and all those things. And then they start asking me like, what's your process? What are you doing? And the first thing I say is, well, when a payment comes through, I write it on a fucking sticky pad and then I hand it to the next guy and say, add these to the schedule. They're like, oh, okay. Like there's some work to be done here. But like I said, it works. So
how about you, Kenneth? What are you running?
We're using Printavo. I used to for a while, I had my own version of Printavo that I made myself with Google Calendar, Google Drive.
That's what we do.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing, right? And then I found a software called Orderdesk. It's pretty much Printavo, but it doesn't have a damn calendar. And I was just like, man, fuck it. I'm just going to start using Printavo because the Printavo, it works good. Like, because you can send notifications to your customers. Like, whenever you send someone a proof, it'll shoot them a text message like, yo, check your email. So there's a lot of automations to it, and they're coming out with even more. And then when they added the merch stores, like you can have unlimited merch stores for like $99 a month. That was cool to me until I started doing a lot of merch stores. Like at one point, I think in the summer, we had like almost 50 merch stores going. And like your phone number and your contact information is on that merch store. So if some kid buys a shirt, they're calling you, hey, I ordered a medium, but I meant to order a large. And they're like, okay, well, what store are you calling about this and that? The merch stores for me are cool, but I don't like doing a lot of them at one time. It's like it's chaotic when you're doing so many at one time. And then
you need staff for it specifically.
Yeah.
That's where we're at right now is like, I'm literally about to hire somebody just to run stores because of that. Like half of my inbox a day is just customer service stuff with stores. So
are you guys doing a lot of merch stores right now? How's that been for y'all? Do y'all feel like it's profitable? What are some of y'all's rules? And
I like it a lot. We're using Inksoft for stores. I wasn't really doing it for like COVID reasons. I just was getting back into doing fulfillment in general. But yeah, for me, it's like I'm figuring it all out on my own at this point. Like obviously with Inksoft, you can set up a store really fast and all that part works. But like the back end of like, should I preprint? Should I do more of an on-demand, or do I get a DTG machine, which I don't want to do. But that's kind of like where I'm at is like, I think I'm falling more into the category of where, back to what we were saying in the beginning is not doing any store that comes my way or any person that's like, I want to open a store. It's more people I know are going to do really well that we have a relationship with. And then I'll feel more comfortable being like, okay, let's run 5 designs. I'm going to go ahead and pre-print like 100 of each. And then when stock gets low, I'll reprint and put it back on the shelf, because the whole on-demand thing with screen printing is a huge pain in the ass. Like,
Absolutely.
you know, like what we've been doing is we've been just like reprinting what sells every week and shipping it out. But then you're dealing with lead times, you're dealing with setting jobs back up and so on. So I think I'm just going to weed out ones that aren't great and then just stick to ones that work really well and just have shelves of stock, and make some kind of contract with them to be like, you know, at a certain point, if you stop selling, you have to buy X amount of stock that I have on the shelf.
So the way I do my merch store is the biggest plus at it, no matter how many shirts they sell, they're getting my minimum price. So if somebody, my minimum, I don't know what you guys' minimum are, but my minimum is 24 pieces. If somebody sets up a merch store and they were to sell 400, they're getting my 24 piece price. Because going into it, we don't know how many they're going to sell.
Exactly. Yeah.
So going into it, and when they say, well, hey, how much is this shirt going to be? Hey, it's going to be $10. So if you set your pricing at $20, you're going to make $10 a unit. You know, I had this one lady, she sold like 780 something shirts and she paid full minimum price for it, but she still made money just by sharing that link. Exactly. You know what I mean? We ended up writing her a check for almost like $9,000.
Yeah, but that's
pretty much what we're doing too. They're paying premium because we're doing the store. They have basically nothing up front. They're just somebody who can sell shirts. You know what I mean? Somebody who has followers and the pull to sell stuff. That's really what they have. And then we do everything else.
But they should be paying a premium because there's more work that goes into it. I mean, from maybe a wrong address was entered in and you have that sort of back end work to do, or, you know, there's a hole in a shirt and you've got to support that and individually bag things. I mean, it's not like getting, you know, the person, like you said, even though they're not getting 24 pieces and they're getting 400, there's more. It's not like they're getting 400 and picking up some boxes and leaving. I mean, there's more work to be done. So I think they should be paying a premium. And also, I want to mention Steven at Campus Inc. I think he made a video about what you're talking about, like the rules you have about stores and about merch stores, and it's really awesome. And in fact, I did a Zoom call with him a few months back because we're growing our, not necessarily merch stores, but just online stores. Most of our online stores aren't on demand. They work like this. We open it.
Just like a pre-sale. Yeah,
there's a pre-sale and then there's a closing date. Store closes. We print the shirts and then ship them, or some people pick them up. And it works great. I mean,
those are the dream ones. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. And so that's how we run ours. And like you said, we run at a minimum. We give them a small quantity pricing, and if it doesn't matter if they sell 50 or 100 or 200 or whatever, the pricing doesn't change. They already know it's fixed. They know how much they're making off of each shirt, and I like it like that because then there's no, like at the end, there's we're not discussing your bill or anything. Like there's not some crazy calculation of, oh well, it's actually cheaper now or whatever. You just know you sell 100 shirts and you're getting $5 a shirt. It's $500. Simple.
Yep.
So with the Inksoft stores, can the customer like log in and see how many shirts they've sold, or they have to contact you and you have to look and tell them?
I don't know. There probably is. I haven't gone into it that far, but I know that when you set up the store, you can set up notifications. So what I do is I set up a end of day notification. So I think there's like instant. So like if anybody places an order right now, they get a notification. But with some of the bigger stores I have, that would be super annoying for them. So I pretty much just do like an end of day report every day for them. So it's automated. I don't have to actually do anything. No. Just at the end of every day, it tells them like, hey, you sold 35 shirts today. So they like that just so they know. They have motivation to keep pushing it if they know they're selling a shitload every day.
One thing, not to like plug Printavo or nothing like that, but just like as a community-based resource, they have like an idea board. So like if you have an idea for an improvement, you paste it on their idea board, and other people can go in and like those ideas. And then whatever the most liked idea is at that time, they're implementing. And then when they get done with that one, they go to whatever the next one that has the most likes and all that. Mm-hmm. So I like the fact the Printavo, they're real community based. Like they're like, hey, how can we help these screen printers out here? We have an open based software that we're willing to do whatever it takes. I like that about Printavo a lot. But like you said, like when you get to something that works, it's kind of, you worry about messing up your whole process by switching systems. For me, I never found something that was like foolproof and just worked and streamlined and there were never any issues, or issues with employees learning how to do it right. And I finally, once I got Printavo, me and my wife were like, can we just quit switching how we're doing this shit and just stick with this right now? Because like switching things, and then like somebody comes with an order from 5 years ago. Oh, well, on 5 years ago, we were using Google Calendar and QuickBooks. So let's go back in there and dig through that 5 years ago, see if we can find their artwork that way. So I think it's, like once you get to the point where what you're using works, I'd probably stick to it. That's
and to circle back to the way we started this conversation, that's pretty much the only thing that makes me want to try like a Printavo or something like that, is just like the little automations. But then I look at it too, I'm like, well, then there's still a monthly bill that they're going to want, which is whatever. That it's not the biggest concern for me, but it's more just like, do I need those? Like right now with shipping with Printavo, they're probably like, oh yeah, once you set up an invoice, all you gotta do is click ship or something, and it's going to make me a label or whatever it's going to do. Like I don't have that now. So basically Chris's job at the end of every day is to ship everything, which he does through UPS. It's not through a system. It's just, he's putting in the addresses, putting in the weight, shipping a box. So there's extra steps with things, but
that automation you're saying, whatever your monthly spend is to have Printavo,
it's going to be covered in time.
Yeah, right. You're going to make it back. So
right. No, I know, but that's what I'm saying is that's really the only thing that would push me over the edge to be like, I'm going to use this now, is to save my guys a little bit of time. But like I said, I've just been doing it one way for so long that it works and it's not broke. So,
well, we love Bruce at Printavo, and maybe this is the perfect opportunity for him to send Matt out to your shop, Dylan, and then get you set up.
Hey, tell him that I referred you. They give me like $200 or something. If you tell them that
Kenneth gets $200. Perfect.
$200.
This is like a win. It's a win-win-win.
I'm pretty sure it was 2,000, wasn't it?
I would be shocked. If that's the case, I might start trying to get some of those. Man. I thought it was $200.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I think Bruce. I think he wrote that down. It's like part of their core values is that they give everyone $2,000 for referrals.
I need to get
Bruce is gonna yell at us right now.
Did you see on their Instagram today that Justin from Oklahoma Shirt was getting?
I saw Justin did it the other day. Yeah,
he was getting a tattoo, and then he was tattooing Mike Tyson.
The Mike Tyson.
All right, so awesome. Since we're talking about Printavo, we should also talk about Inksoft, and they are our sponsor. And we run our stores in Inksoft, and they have a question every podcast. We have an Inksoft sponsored question. And Dylan, you want to ask it?
No, because I have to look it up on my phone.
You can make something up. Ask any question you want. It doesn't even have to be the one that we got.
No, I like the Inksoft question. It brings us back down to being humble.
Okay. Here we go.
Are you doing it or am I doing it?
Oh, I thought you were looking for it. Okay, I've got it right here.
Okay. What the Inksoft question is, what do you want for Christmas?
Me?
Yeah.
Couple days off.
Doesn't have to be print related.
Man, I would just like a couple of days off. Like I'm fucking tired, man. I've been going at it.
That's fair.
He wants a good pillow and a couple of days off.
So he opens up a box, tears off the wrapping, opens up a box, and it's just like this coupon.
I got 2 days off. But if I took 2 days off, I'd have to shut my shop down for 2 days because right now I don't trust anybody in here.
Mm-hmm.
One of those things. Are you guys to the point, like, how much time do you think you could take off before shit went haywire at your shop?
Well, apparently Andy can take fucking months at a time off, so.
I haven't been in the shop in months, so I don't know.
That's a green screen behind him. He's in Maui right now.
I can run payroll from my phone. I can do emails from my phone. I have the schedule in my phone, and my phone actually does call also. I can pick up and it uses there is a voice call option on there. We went to this January, which is hard to believe it was this year. We were in the desert for 18 days. So
wow, good for you, man.
There's about 5 key holders here. So there's 5 people that have a key to the shop, and they open the front door and there's a code in for the alarm, and they can come in and they either can open or close or whatever. So yeah, I mean, now that said, I need to be here right now. You know, like it's pretty busy, and we have some people out, and I need to run a press. You know, so I'm sort of like you. If I wasn't here, there would be a press running, but we have more than one press, and so we have more than one press's worth of work, and so I have to be here right now. COVID threw a wrench in it all, you know, I mean, I think for everyone. And so, but I was going to say that to you, that you obviously know, I mean, you know, you need some help, you know, you need somebody there that can make it so that you can have 2 days off, because how long do you want to go for, you know, not having any days off? Or how long do you want to go, or what happens if something happens to you? You know, what happens if you get sick, or if you break your leg, or whatever it is, you know, you've got to have somebody.
Hopefully I'm not going to break my leg. That would be devastating right now.
Right.
You know, I mean, to answer your question, yeah, I need to get people in here and people trained. But the thing about it is when you're so damn busy, like stopping to train people puts you even further behind. So like, where is that gap where you can like take a breath, slow down, train some people? Like, I don't have that gap right now. You know what I mean? I had a guy apply, and he's like, oh, well, I've got 8 years experience. And he worked for this company that does like nothing but 1 and 2 color designs. I'm like, this is perfect. He can run the Sportsman because all I'm doing over there is the real easy stuff. We'll run all the colorful stuff on the digital Squeegee. So he gets in here, and within about 5 minutes, I was like, this guy, if he does have 8 years experience, I'm shocked. I sent him home at like 4:00, and I was just like, dude, maybe you can go get your other job back. I was like, but this, I can just tell, like, there's no way you're going to be able to handle the pace of my shop. He did like 3 jobs, and they were all like 2 color front, 1 color back. He struggled through it the whole way. And I'm just like, ugh, I don't know. I feel like for me, I'm like, it's hard to satisfy me with a press operator. Like, you got to be pretty damn good. Otherwise, I just feel like I just get out the way and I'll do it real quick. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's something I definitely got to let go of. It's just like through the years, like trust issues with press operators and stuff like that. It's just hard for me to let go of, man. You know, like, I'm so hands-on. I'm so afraid of something getting messed up and putting us even further behind. That's definitely something next year I'm going to have to like make myself do better at.
Things get messed up, but you have to look at it like, that press operator being there is getting you ahead. And so if something gets messed up, maybe you'll be behind, but you're still ahead. You know what I mean? Like, I know what you're saying, because it's tough to let go of that quality concern, but the right person, and they're out there, the right person cares about quality too. They're proud of their job. And not only that, you know, we run press teams. It's not single operator press. So we have 3 people to a press. Right. And if one person's not going to let, like, if one person's quality isn't up to the other 2 standards, they're going to let them know. And if that doesn't work, they're going to go to the production manager. And if that doesn't work, it's going to escalate to me. You know, like, they're going to say, wait, stop. We're not, you know, I'm not printing this with you. And it'll end up, I guess, in my office ultimately. So, I mean, I think that they don't want that to happen, not just because they don't want to be in trouble or anything like that, but they want it to look good too. So they're out there, you know, there's people out there that care about screen printing. And
I think the other side of that too is that, like, if you get somebody in and they mess a job up, it's just, they know that they messed that shit up, and they're a lot less likely to do that again.
And so they get the belt.
And they get the belt, right? Obviously. Right.
See, and once you've gotten the belt once,
it's like a dog when they shit on the floor, you like grab their face and wipe it in it. Usually when I have a shirt that gets messed up at the end of the dryer, I go grab the back of their head and I wipe their face in it.
Right?
Part of me kind of believes that.
You should. It's the truth. I only tell the truth.
All right. So you want 2 days off for Christmas. Dylan, what do you want for Christmas?
Do I want for Christmas? I would like that week off too, even though I think 2 days in, I'd be like, shit, I want to go back to work.
Do you guys usually have a long shutdown around Christmas time?
Well, that was one thing I was going to ask, is like, for the first, I don't know, like 8 or so years, that was our goal every year, was like, you know, December 25th to New Year's, like, let's try to take that week off. But I feel like every year is different, where it's like, we have too many jobs. Let's just go in for like 2 of those days, knock them out. That way, when we come back on, you know, the 2nd, we'll be fine again.
Yeah, but like this year, when Christmas falls on a weekday, it's only just 4 days. And so in other words, it's on Friday, I think. And so you could. Well,
you got to do Christmas Eve and Christmas, which is Thursday and Friday.
Okay. So you get Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you have that off, and that gives you a whole 10 days. There you go. There's your 10 days. That's what I'm saying
is like, will we be able to do that this year because of how busy we are right now?
Yes.
Like, we'll be able to take
the answer is yes.
10 days off?
Yes. There you go.
You guys are a lot different than me in the fact that you know what day Christmas Eve and Christmas Day are on. Like, I know what day Monday is. Like, I'm focused on Monday right now. And you guys already know when Christmas Eve and Christmas Day are on.
Well, I know right now we're booked up almost till after New Year's. So
is that normal for you guys to have that kind of turnaround?
Usually we're booked up 3 weeks.
There's nobody down here that would tolerate that.
Yeah. My turnaround is generally 10 to 15 business days.
So around here, because people have so many choices and then some of these printers, like, they're just sitting around waiting on work. If somebody comes in my shop on Monday, even with artwork being a complete mess and I can't have it to them on Friday, they're going to go look somewhere else. That's the way around down here. That's how it is. 4 to 5 day turnaround, or you're not going to get the job.
See, that's the thing. That's kind of a difference with me though, too, is like, I'm not doing local stuff. Like, I'm not fighting locals because somebody in the city near me is like, I want it for Friday. They're like, fuck it, I'm just going to go to X, Y, and Z. Like, we're just dealing with like people all over the world. Like, not just US, we're doing Canada and UK and Australia and everything else. They generally come to us because they want to work with us. And I'm just like, okay, well, the turnaround is going to be 10 to 15 days. And they're like, okay. And then that's it. It's over. Like, they pay up front. We ship it. We try to ship it before 15 days. And then that's it.
Yeah, I need to get on that level. And that's one thing I'm going to work on in 2021 is that I'm the only one with a digital squeegee within like 500 miles of me.
See, that's a huge benefit you have is the digital squeegee now, because it's not a large group.
Yeah. And one thing that I've already done with people, and like I having people, like you talk about people sending you random hoodies, you get in there, oh, well, here's a lovely crop top in the middle of all these hoodies and stuff like that. I've already brought people back here and like, look, dude, you see this machine? Like, I am not putting this order in front of this machine. I'm sorry, I can't do it. It's no disrespect to you, but that's not what this is built for, because even like on the digital squeegee, there's different pallets for hoodies. Like, you can't have that pocket sitting on top of a pallet. So they make a pallet with no rubber in the back so that pocket can kind of sit back there. So like, if somebody comes to me with like 50 shirts and 3 hoodies, that's like now a complete pain in the ass because I'm having to change 3 pallets for those 3 hoodies. You know what I mean? So
I have that exact same problem right now. And I literally just asked me and Andy are in like a little print group about it. And I asked about that because that was one of the things we're going to try to eliminate for 2021. Because I kind of talked about this a little in the beginning of the episode, but like, there's certain things for next year I just want to like say no to or eliminate. And one of the things we were talking about is we get so many orders this time of year where they're like, I want, 200 shirts, but I want 10 hoodies or 5 hoodies or whatever. It could be 50-piece order. And they're like, I want 5 hoodies. Well, my question was to all these other printers was, what do you guys do? Do you have minimums? Do you say, if you're going to order 50 tees, do you have a minimum of 12 hoodies? Or do you have a minimum of 24 hoodies or whatever? So I feel like we just get so many customers that are like, oh, I want to order 50 for my staff, but I want like 5 hoodies for me and my family. And it's just like, we use separate pallets for hoodies. We don't use the same t-shirt pallets. So in that job, we run 50 tees. Then we have to take all the pallets off, put all the hoodie pallets on, print 5 hoodies, change the off contact, all that stuff, hot head, everything for hoodies for 5
Maybe
pieces.
I don't know. You could run 5 hoodies. That's not going to hurt your pallets just because you're just talking about 5 pallets or 1 hoodie per pallet one time. I get it. What you're saying, if you end up doing several loads, it's going to jack your pallets and you're going to have to switch them out and that costs more, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, by the way, on that topic, I ordered 14 pallets last week.
Good man.
Dude. You know how many pallets I've got on order right now? So this Striker has 22 stations.
Damn.
I've got like 66 pallets on order because the thing about it is I didn't want to get this digital squeegee and be like, no, we can't do this because of that. You know, it's like, if you're going to go all in and spend this money on this technology.
You're saying you bought like youth pallets and all this other stuff?
Specialty pallets for the digital squeegee.
And so they make what they call a stay flat pallet that's like even more expensive because it's milled down. Like, I guess they take a lot of extra time to make sure the millimeters like consistently all the way down that pallet. Like, dude, that was the biggest thing with this deal. Is like, we're dealing with tenths of millimeters. Like, it's scary how precise this thing is.
It's not like a 3-year-old triple durometer squeegee that you're just like pushing ink through. You're dealing with like perfect passes.
Yeah, it's
print heads.
So the first job I ran on a digital squeegee was 48 pieces, and I hit 9 of them, meaning that the shirt was sticking up somewhere in the digital print.
What does it do when does it just not print and it just skips it, or?
So what happens is, like when you load your shirt, you have to make sure the collar and the sleeve seams are off the table. I mean, you can raise the digital print head up a lot to compensate for that, but then you can't print bi-directional. You have to print unidirectional, so it's going in and out 4 times, which slows it down big time. So what happens is I ordered 14 by 22 pallets just because we do a lot of like canvas extra smalls and stuff like that. And I measured them. I'm like, if I'm putting this on a 16-inch pallet, the seams are going to be on the pallet.
Yeah.
So I ordered 14 by 22s. But the thing is, you can't have anything on that pallet. No shirt, no sleeve seams, no collar. And then on the bottom, you have to like physically like tuck the shirt under the pallet. Because when the digital squeegee goes over it, it has such turbulence that it'll suck that shirt up into it. And those inks, those digital inks, when they get on that shirt, they're not coming off. Like
it's the same thing with DTG. Yeah, you can't get DTG ink on your shirt.
Yeah,
same deal.
If it rubs that digital print head, it's running the shirt first of all, and then you have to stop and like clean your print heads and all that good stuff, which is an automatic process, but still you're having to stop in the middle of, using water-based ink. I'm using the Magna series right now, and that stuff is like hella expensive, man. Like extremely expensive.
Well, what I want for Christmas is
just dropped it.
You like that? You like that? Because I've been itching to say it, and I want the new AirPad Pros where you just like touch them.
I thought you were going to say you want the digital squeegee.
Yeah, I do, but for real, like here's my original. Here's my What are these called?
AirPods.
That's right. These are the original ones, and they're okay, but they're not like you can't talk into them and this kind of thing. I want the new ones, the pros. All right, so I have a couple things for you. One, do you have any shop hacks, or one shop hack anyway you'd like to share, or you can share?
For me,
yeah, like a secret shop hack that makes your life easier, and would make my life easier also, and Dylan's.
My best shop hack for you guys would be to get a digital squeegee and quit making all these damn. Dude, I'm telling you, man.
All right.
So I'm not here and Barger's not paying me anything to say that, I promise.
Is Bruce?
No, I've never even talked to Bruce. I'm actually offended that Bruce has never contacted me. I'm like a Printavo push. Like
you just pushed Printavo on me so hard. And he's never talked to you before.
I think every time they sell a digital squeegee, Bruce should pay like a couple $1,000s also. Any piece of equipment, really.
He's like,
I think. Yeah, so, I mean, my shop hack, obviously I have an advantage with the digital. Like, dude, it's just been, even though I'm working like a ton of hours, that's just me overworking to make sure that everything's going good. You know what I mean? We're in like weird times, unpredictable times. I need to make sure my shop is like squared away right now. So I work a lot. I spend a lot of time going through emails, making sure people are getting talked to right, all that, going over artwork. But my shop hack is obviously digital squeegee, man. Like, dude, there's so many jobs. Like, I did this one customer, and he's a kid that does hand-drawn artwork, right? He placed like a $30,000 order with me one time. He had a job that it was 8 color front and back on white hoodies, 8 colors on each leg of white sweatpants.
Mm-hmm. You hear that, Dylan? White hoodies. Yeah.
I heard it.
I'm listening.
Yeah. And then 8 color front on black hoodies. I saved 33 screens on that one order. The very first week we implemented the digital squeegee, we saved 168 screens that very first week.
That's rad.
And so, I mean, I don't know any other way to say it. Any other tips and tricks you guys probably already know, but that right there it's the best thing since sliced bread so far. And even with all the learning curves and the shirts that I've fucked up and things like that and getting used to that striker and everything, I don't, especially with my other two press operators quitting on me just out of the blue like that. Like if I didn't have this digital squeegee right now, I would be in serious trouble.
All right. So because of DFW Inc., we are going to have to change that question to read, do you have any shop hacks under $100?
Shop hacks under $100. I don't, man.
You don't have to answer that, but that'll be our new.
Is that what you were looking for? under 100?
Well, I don't know. Something that, because you're right, digital squeegee is probably the future of a lot of shops.
We've thought about it. That's the reason why we got the Gauntlet 3 was because
flat indexing.
Probably get a digital squeegee within the next couple of years. The biggest problem I have that I need to look into is the fact that I'm in New York and that the humidity fluctuates so much. Do you have to deal with that in Texas? Or in your shop?
Dude, in my shop normally, and in the summer, in my shop, like when I first got my eye image, them techs came in here and they're like, dude, you have to build a room with an air conditioner. You were going to ruin this thing because you could literally touch my eye image and it would be like hot to your hand. That's how hot it gets down here. In the heat of the summer with a dryer on, all that, my shop sits at about 125. It gets hot and dry in here. Like when I rinse out my screens, they dry in like a minute. Like
so what do you do? What do you do for the digital squeegee? Are you going to have humidifiers going for it?
Yeah, so we ran air conditioning to it. They make like a flange. You can see it right there on top if you look at that little. I've got to paint it. Like I have a bunch of like murals and stuff in my shop. We're going to paint that air conditioner duct like an octopus tentacle going into it. But yeah, they make a flange. They make a flange that goes up top that you can blow air conditioning into, and then it has a chiller unit underneath. And then they put like a humidity and temperature index gauge in there just to kind of let you know where you're at.
That's awesome.
But they, as far as the digital squeegee goes, dude, it's like super complex. Like I look at this shit, I'm like, what is all this shit? Like if somebody came in here with a baseball bat and hit this thing in the circuit, they have so much shit and so much electronics in there. It kind of reminds me, I don't know if you guys ever had like an old Cayenne flash or it was like a damn refrigerator with a flash hanging out of it. And now you have like a new Chili D to where there's like no even like panel to open up and see all the shit. I'm wondering like in 5 years, like what is this digital squeegee going to look like?
Yeah.
Because even with the eye image, I have like one of the older eye images. I see the new ones. I'm like, what do they do with all those components? So.
Yeah.
Hey, do you have any questions for us?
What is y'all's average size order? Y'all doing a lot of big orders? You do. I know you take everything that walks through your door. Like, what's y'all's minimums?
My average size order is probably the 100 to 500. We do a shitload of like 25, 50, 100 piece. But I try to stay around the 1,000 or less. We definitely do like multiple 1,000 piece orders, but our bread and butter is the like 100, 200, 300 piece orders. My minimum's 12.
Whoa. Do you charge out the ass for that though?
Yeah. It's definitely like you pay way more for 12. Yeah. It's a, a structure, but like I said, you get a little of everything. You get those people that, just come to your shop and are like, I need 12 shirts for my staff, or I need, this. That's kind of what that's for. But we're also trying to put in more minimums for colors. So we do a ton of stuff that's like 8, 10, 12 colors.
I see.
So if you're getting 8 or 10, 12 colors, you're getting at least 100 shirts. Like you're not coming to me with a 12 color print. You need 12 shirts.
Yeah.
So that's here's where we see.
Here's my Monday. 15, 26, 233, 102, 2 shirts. That's a fix. 90, 56, 91, 79, 191, 20, 24, 500, 103, 604, 37, 25, 61, 30, 45.
Those are such random numbers. 61? Who's ordering fucking 61 shirts?
That's a slight flex to sit there. 500.
Yeah, like in 37 there. So we get, because some of those are ordered, for each, specifically for each person, I suppose.
Right. Well, you're doing a lot of the school stuff, so.
That ain't.
Do a lot of work for like Greek licensing or fraternity stuff?
No, we do not.
We do
ever. We do not ever print Greek stuff ever.
Disclaimer.
Nobody's listening, man.
Never,
Nobody's listening.
I have never printed anything with Greek letters on it. But these kind of orders, somebody will say, hey, we're going to get orders for whatever, for this car club or for whatever it is. And they'll just take orders. And so sometimes it's 14 smalls and, it's not even numbers. Other times it is, like I read some off that were even.
Do you tell your customers like that to order extras? Be like, hey, order 10 extra.
Yeah. I mean, we tell them there's reset fees. And so you want to buffer if you're ordering this, you may want to order a few extras because to come back and get more, it costs. But
I'm just saying in case like you mess one shirt up.
Oh, well, that's
be like,
hey, so
but you should say like, hey, I have a 3% misprint allowance. And if you mess up a shirt, it's not on you. It's kind of just.
I thought a lot about this kind of stuff because I thought about ordering an extra one of each thing every time we order, just because like what if there's a hole in it or right when it happened, what happens when there's two things of one size that are wrong? But so we have in our stock here, one of our most popular shirts, our two most popular shirts, Gildan 5000 and then Bella Canvas 3001, which I need a little thing to put like a dinger, or not a dinger, but just a button to push that says out of stock. So whenever you say Bella Canvas, but I would say that, so what we do is we stock every single color in the Gildan, every single color and every single size. We have several of them in our room over there, like a whole dozen, you know what I mean? So like if you need a red, if you're on press and you mess up a red Gildan 5000 and extra large, we've got one here. Or if you're on press and you mess up a Bella Canvas 3001 CVC and Heather, whatever, we've got one here. But what happens where we get stung is if we're printing like a hoodie and it's this whatever hoodie and we don't have that here. Or if it's a long sleeve, we
some
have
shitty white hoodie.
Can y'all even get a white hoodie right now?
Vintage white. But so that's one of the ways it saved our butts. It saves our butts all the time having that stock of shirt. Mm-hmm. It costs obviously to have. But the other thing to do is, like you said, order extras or have somebody order extras. I know like when I ordered bags for our shop the last time around, they shipped, 500. We had to order 10,000 or whatever it is. And it came here and there was like 300 or 400 or 500 more. And they billed us for it. And I called them, I said, wait, so I only ordered this many and I've got this bill for 300 or 400 more. I was just curious why that happened. He goes, oh, we just run and then when we stop and sometimes it turns out to be, like you said, there's a 3% overage or underage and they charge. That's how it works.
You know what I've learned? You know what I've learned today, Dylan? Andy has his shit together more than we do.
Don't let him fool you.
Dylan learned that long ago.
That's a fucking smoke screen.
Dylan learned that long time ago.
He has shit together more than us, I would say. I mean, he's got a little bit better process because when you talk about like that 3 or 4% spoilage rate, like that's all fine and dandy to put in your terms and conditions. But me, myself, if it's like a customer that I've been dealing with,
I never stick to that. There is always like we fix it. I'm just saying that like if you get all those customers constantly, like schools, they're like, I need 43 pieces because it's specifically for 43 kids. I almost always tell that customer like order 50. Like
the worst are family reunions. Right. When they come in and they got a spiral notebook with Timmy needs a youth medium and Sam needs it. You know, I always tell the family reunion people, please order extra because you're going to forget about so-and-so's cousin that shows up and he doesn't heard.
That's what I was meaning mostly about that stuff. It's just like tell them to get a few extra because they're always going to forget one person or you might mess one up. And it's just like you have that extra shirt. Yeah, you'll get them a refund or whatever, but it's nicer to have the actual shirts there so that, if they say they have to have it for Friday, there's no way for me to reorder one shirt for them to get to that kid on Friday. If they ordered 1 or 2 of extra of every size, they got their bases covered. What
we need? We need Tyler from TC Screen Printing. We need data.
He would know the data.
And so, like what we need is I need to know, like we need to be able to keep track of like for the whole year, 2021 or whatever, or a whole month. And we say, okay, so how many times on press did we have a hole in a shirt? Or did we have a misprint?
We have to reset up a job.
Yeah. So how many times, and then add all those times up and how long it took, like time it and say, oh shit, like I've got this 2-shirt fix here. Like what? I don't know why we have on our fix, we have a fix form. And so It's a really cool form. I should probably share it, but it's this fixed form, and it'll say the reason why, like there's a hole in it or there's a misprint or whatever. And I want to know, like, would it have been better for us to order, 5 more shirts for that order and have one here, or not do that and just set it up and fix it? Because on every single order, am I supposed to order 5 more shirts? And then where do all those shirts go?
That's the problem. I've done that where I've had extras, or just even extras from Broder or SNS sending extras. Like randomly, you get like random extra shirts. I have like 2 huge shelves full of just extra shirts, and I want to get rid of them. Like I couldn't imagine being like for every order ordering like 2 or 3 extra shirts. It would fucking take over the shop in a week.
Like in a week, yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't have space for it. So that's what I was just saying.
That's like, the thing with screen printing in general. There's just so many variables. There's so many things that can go wrong. There's so many shirt sizes, so many colors. Like there's so many variables. It's almost hard to nail down like the perfect process to where no matter what, you've got a backup plan for it. Mm-hmm. It seems like you're always just fucking set it up and redo it type of deal.
Yeah. But don't let Andy fool you. He doesn't have his shit together. He just likes to say what he thinks.
Well, he's talking a good talk.
All right. I know you said something, Dylan. That's cool.
No, I did not.
It's recorded. All right. So here's our fix order. It's kind of cool. We made it orange. And so it stands out. And this part right here, this gets cut out. And I give that goes to the production manager and says hold screens right there. Because we don't want to wash out the screens and then make 4 screens for this fix, right? And so that's a hold screen. And then up here, it talks about why are we fixing this? See that part? Why are we fixing this? Because I want to know. And so what I could do is like fax this to Tyler or whatever, and he can make some spreadsheet for me, right? And now we can know like how often are we fixing something? And is it better just to buy shirts? Because what if that's
I love how we keep in the last couple episodes, we keep making a laundry list of things for Tyler to fix for us.
Well, I mean, he was talking the big talk about the data, and I don't know how to do it. So
yeah, I'm not that guy.
Anyway,
I'm not that guy either.
What do you do for like fixes? Just curious. So how do you know to hold screens? How do you know? Like when it goes into your lineup, that's a fix, that this is it, because this goes on the box. This top part that's not torn off goes on that bag or box or whatever. And so, how do you track a fix through your shop? Just curious.
I set it up as a whole nother job. I just put it back in my calendar. So what I'll do is I'll just move that invoice over to whatever day that we're going to be reprinting them. That way, the proof, everything's already in there. Label it as a reprint, and then we get with our customer and say like, hey, a couple of these had a hole in them or a couple of them got messed up. Here's why. Do you need any more while we're setting this up again?
That's sometimes smart. Maybe you can invoice them for something.
Yeah, and try and get something out of it. But as far as the screens go, I don't know if I'm just weird about it or what. I would rather put it on screen again. I hate grabbing a screen that's already been set up and ran and ink taken out of it and all that. I just put it on screen again. I don't know. I don't like keeping track of screens. That's just one more thing for people to keep track of, like, hey, stick those screens in the corner or put those back in the darkroom or whatever. I just take a loss and fucking put it back on screen, honestly, and just treat it as a whole new job. We have a rack just for fixes. I mean, it happens almost every day. There's either a hole in a shirt or there's a misprint, Don't you love it when there's a hole in a shirt and there's like a sticker pointing to the
right at the hole?
Yeah. But nobody's like somewhere along the line in Gildan, every single person said, fuck it, I'm not doing nothing with that shirt. So you get
they just did this as it went by.
Yeah. Dude, I get shirts like I get next level shirts that are like smalls, but they have an extra large tag in there. Like shirts with holes. I've gotten shirts with no sleeves on it before.
We've had that. We had a hoodie not that long ago where the pocket was on the back.
I've had that before too. I thought it was pretty dope actually. I'm like, is this when you rested or what? You put your hands behind your back? Yeah, I've had that happen too. Which I understand.
It's a convict. It's the G18500 convict. So it's got the pockets in the back.
But like I said, I understand when shit like that happens. I really do. And I try to have forgiveness with everybody, the suppliers here locally, that they send me an order and then it's missing 2 mediums or something like that. But so we deal with a company. I have a company that's literally 2 miles from me, TSF Sportswear. And they got hit bad in COVID because a lot of the people they laid off just went elsewhere. And so they basically hired, I'm assuming, mostly all new people. And there was a day in my shop where we pulled 5 orders, 5 in a row were wrong on quantities. And I was just like, dude, I can't, not right now. Like, I can't do that right now. If the last thing I can do is deal with somebody that can't count properly, you know, I'm trying to be as forgiving as possible with everything. But like, if you send me an order and it's supposed to have 5 of each size, but I only have 3 of one size, I don't know. I can't tolerate that. What do y'all do when that happens? Do you like call and say, hey, you shorted me 2 shirts? Or you just say, screw it, I'm just going to order these 2?
Chris counts in stuff every single day. So, and he's super meticulous with it. And he'll bring me in the packing slip and it'll be circled and say, you know, missing 1 piece or missing 2 pieces. And it's almost every single day from some supplier that something's wrong, or it's the wrong color, or it's the wrong size. It just goes in with my daily ordering stack. So at the end of that day, when I'm ordering shirts, I'll just email my rep for wherever it came from. And I say, on PO, you know, 14695, we were shorted 1 military green extra large. And then they usually get it to us the next day.
And then, do you guys count your shirts like as soon as they get there, or you do it the day you're printing?
No, as soon as they get there.
Yeah, definitely before. There's occasions where we're counting in off the truck because it's a rush or whatever. But most orders are counted in before. And so, yeah, like you said, we're the same as Dylan. So Brooke is checking in, and Elizabeth. Sometimes they're checking in and come across something that we're missing, and we just email our account. We have somebody we go to that just takes care of it.
They just forward it to somebody in, their company that deals with it, and they just send us 1 piece in a bag or whatever.
God, it makes you wonder how often that happens and how much losses they're taking and stuff. Like, hey, we got it, because then they're sending it to you with free shipping and all that.
Yeah.
Most is right. Most is right for us. Like, it's not often that.
Dude,
we might get like 40 boxes in, and we're missing like 2 shirts.
Yeah,
so, you have a S&S there, yeah? In Dallas. Yeah. Where's S&S? Are they in Dallas?
They're in Fort Worth.
Fort Worth? Yeah. Do you buy from them?
Arlington, where I'm at, is right in between Dallas and Fort Worth, and there's a million little suburb cities around here. So I have TSF Sportswear like 2 miles away. I have Broder that's probably like 15 miles away. S&S is probably like 20 miles away. There's a place called Staten Wholesale that's like probably 25 miles away. So I have a lot of choices.
Do they have pickup options?
They do. They have like weird rules and stuff. Like you can only come in certain times and things like that.
Awesome that would be. Like,
I know, it'd be fucking awesome.
Can you believe that? You just drive over.
So when I was rolling with TSF Sportswear, I had my morning ritual every morning on my way to the shop. I would stop and pick up shirts every single morning. And then when COVID hit, and then now the inventory situation, to where most of our orders, I'm ordering from like 3 different places a lot of times. And it's I'll order, if it's a 40-piece order, I'm ordering 30 from here, 8 from here, and 2 from here. And it's like, I don't get free shipping on all that stuff. I'm losing a lot of money paying to get these shirts here. And I'm not going to sit there and put that on my customer and say, well, you owe me $28 for shipping because they had to order them from 3 places. It's not really their fault, and it's not my fault either. It's just kind of something you have to roll with right now. But I'm hoping this inventory thing will get squared away like as soon as possible. Like someday. It's been a disaster.
What are you going to say, Dylan?
I was going to say that's been like a discussion that we've had this problem for the past couple of weeks, but like we had a big discussion on Friday where customers are ordering like normal. Like, we're busy. We have customers every single day that are trying to place orders, and they could be like, I need, 50 military green, whatever, like next level 6021s or something. And I'll go to order that, and then they'll have small through large and 2X and 3X, but they have no extra larges at all. Like, they're just gone. And I have to go to another brand and find a military green that's very similar. And usually it's like, okay, that's 5 shirts of the order. I'll order those 5 shirts from another brand just to fill that person's order. We'll print the job, customer gets the shirts, and we're getting emails back of them bitching, being like, these 5 shirts are slightly different military green than the other ones. We want you to reprint them. And I'm just like, we can't reprint them because that's all there is. Like, there's no other option. And it's like, do we email every customer or call every customer and be like, hey, we had to sub, 2 shirts out of your 100-piece order with another brand that's really, really close? Or do we just like, that's just something that came up? like 3 days ago now that we have to start to, I think that's what we're going to end up doing is we're just going to have to call every customer and be like, hey, just so you know, 2 shirts out of your order, we had to sub for something else. It's another brand. Just so you know, like, don't call us and complain about 2 shirts.
So I have a story. Everyone knows that you can't get a black extra large hoodie right now. And we had this order for some, right? And so Joanne's been watching it, nothing. And we're trying to sub, just like you said, trying to sub with a different brand. And then she opens up Sanmar, and all of a sudden there's 500 sitting in, I think it was Phoenix or something like that. There's 500 extra larges. She goes, oh my God, there's 500 extra large, black 18500 sitting right here. I go, fuck, order them right now. And so she started to order for that order. And I go, I'm just going to buy the rest of them. So I go in and I put them in my cart. And I put in, I can't remember how many it was left over. I put them in there and then I hit buy and it says, you can't buy them. It says, no, there's already somebody else in the cart. She had that stuff in the cart. And so she had to finish her buy before I did. And I'm like, oh shit, hurry. And she's like super stressed. It's almost 12, like by her cutoff. She goes and then buys those. And then I go back to put them in my cart and there's less, but I thank God there's still some there. And I bought them, put them in my cart. And then, so we got them. And then I look just like 5 minutes later, gone, like zero, nothing. That fast. Like it's that bad right now that, I don't even know how those appeared. Like, did they actually make them or did they just find them somewhere in their warehouse? And it's like, hey, guess what? We actually have 500, hoodies, but,
Gordon Company hoodies.
No, they were Gildan. So if anybody out there needs some Gildan 18500s extra large, we have them.
I know Hanes has the Hanes P170 has good stock in black hoodies right now.
Extra large?
Or they did on Friday. Yeah, they had small through 3X, actually, at least 500 of each size at Broder in Dallas. As of Friday. That's the last time I checked.
Yeah, I had probably 5 or 6 orders of just regular crew neck sweatshirts last week that I couldn't find like anything in. And we just had to tell the customer, like, you have to pick a different color. Like they just don't have them.
We've been telling, because on our very first order that we swapped something out without telling the person, they complained, wanted a refund. Yeah. Oh, well, I can't do this. This is my brand and everything. So I told my daughter, because she processes my wife and my daughter pretty much take care of the front end, like orders coming in. My wife will do all the online stuff and my daughter does all the in-store stuff. And I just told them, we're just going to have to contact everybody. We just have, I know it sucks, but we're going to be asking for trouble if we don't give these people a heads up and tell them. And for the most part, I think I've canceled, honestly, since COVID, I've canceled 2 orders because of inventory. Yeah, people have been pretty cool about it. They've been cool about switching colors or, switching brands or mix matching brands and stuff like that. So luckily people are kind of been understanding, just blame it on COVID is like the best answer for anything right now.
Yeah. We've had like good luck with the customers being super cool about stuff. It's just, there's always those orders that it's like on the wire where they're like, I need a rush order or I need it by this day. And then I go to order it and it's like, 5 minutes before cutoff. And I just make a quick decision. I'm like, this shirt is super, super close. It'll be fine. And it's always that order who calls you and is like, what the fuck is this? These don't even look close. And it's like, dude, come on. They are so close. Yeah. It's like the people you were going to give them to are not going to even be standing next to each other to tell that green is slightly different than this green. But because you have a stack of them and you could see a variance in one color, like one size, you're just like, your mind is blown that we would ever think of doing that to you.
All right, yeah. Kenneth, I looked it up and I found out you are right. At Broder, they have 1,000 at every location. At only 4 locations, they have 1,000 extra large black hoodies. So this is really relevant information for this podcast.
It's groundbreaking, but by the time this podcast comes out, for us to talk about.
2 weeks from now, 2 weeks from now, when this comes out, then we'll be back to 0.
At least.
All right, so I have some quick takes for you, and the first one is best recent meal.
My best recent meal?
Your best recent meal, yes.
Fuzzy's Tacos on Friday night.
Is that a franchise or a local?
It's a franchise. Y'all don't have Fuzzy's up there? I'm taking it.
Not that I know of. Haven't heard of it.
It's I mean, so in Texas, there is a million Mexican restaurants, and a lot of them are Tex-Mex. A lot of them are like super authentic Mexican foods, like by far my favorite. But Fuzzy's is the most recent Mexican food I've ate, so I'll go with that.
All right. Dylan, you got the next one.
Next vacation spot.
Here we come with the answer.
Man,
He's like home.
2 days off.
2-day vacation. When's your next 2-day vacation?
Christmas, and I'm going to be at home. No, my next vacation spot, we just went to Mexico a couple summers ago, and that was pretty dope, but I want to go to Europe. I want to go to Italy. That's always been somewhere I want to go.
That seems awesome.
Yeah, that
seems
good.
like it'd be really fun.
I support that. Last book.
I need to run my shop while I'm gone, though, because it'll go to hell.
All right, yeah, Dylan and I will come down there. We'll run the digital squeegee. Last book read.
So last book read, damn, I'm trying to think of the damn name of it. It was this book by Steve-O, Professional Idiot, I think it was. I went and saw
I know
Steve-O.
what you're talking about.
Steve-O and actually all the guys on Jackass growing up or, coming into that Jackass era, they were like geniuses to me. Like to do what they did with like a shitty ass handheld camera and make so much money and just make a name for themselves and the offshoots they've been able to do career wise, they're like geniuses in my book. So that was the last book I read. I'm not a big reader though.
I'm not either.
There's audio.
I like the audio, yeah. But I have to really be into it in order to want to even.
I'll be reading a book and thinking about screen printing or thinking about the shop or something like that. Like my reading comprehension sucks so bad.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Well, I don't even think we need to do the next one because
the next one obvious. No, it's not obvious. This is a really important question. Next question.
Analog or digital?
Digital. You want me to tell you? Let me go back to the digital squeegee thing. So do you guys have? I have like a Roland sticker printer. Do you guys print stickers or anything?
Nope.
So I got the Roland just because I was kind of my accountant is always like, hey, you need to spend some money or else they're going to take it. You need to buy some equipment. And I was like, well, what else can we fucking buy right now? Like this is before I was even thinking about digital squeegee. So I just picked up a little sticker printer. I spent like $13,000 on it. And the theory behind that was when somebody comes in, we already have their artwork that they're doing on their shirt. So why not sell them, some stickers to go with it? They bag up their shirts and they put your sticker in the bag or whatever. Well, that same dude I was telling you that does like hand drawings on paper, before I got the digital squeegee, I was running late on one of his orders because I needed like 40 something screens to do his order. And it was just something I procrastinated on. So I told him, I was like, hey, dude, if I can do your order tomorrow, I'll give you 50 stickers of all 4 of these designs, right? He's like, yeah, that's cool. That was the first time I've ever used his artwork on stickers. And when I saw the quality of that design coming through those digital print heads, it blew my mind because we were printing that same design on shirts, simulated process. I was like, dude, this looks like garbage compared to this sticker. And so seeing that come through a digital print head was the deal. So you ask analog or digital, definitely digital.
I hear you. Next question. Home Alone or Elf?
Elf.
Jeez.
See, that's not such a bad movie. Yeah.
Is Dylan
I can't stand Elf. I can't stand
why,
that movie.
dude? That's a classic.
I don't know.
My wife just found like a little Will Ferrell doll, like when the elf and you pull the string and he has like 80 different phrases that he says. You need to give it another shot, dude.
Yeah, come on.
Just for you guys, I will.
Gather the kids when you get home tonight and put them around the fire. Turn on Elf. Yeah.
You can't.
It's good, man.
I don't know what it is. It's just like, I just didn't like it.
Home Alone is good.
At first, but so many one-liners that you can quote out of that movie.
Doesn't he like eat toilet paper or something, or eat cotton balls in that movie?
Dude, he eats everything out of that movie. He's like in New York or something. He finds this bridge with all these pieces of gum on it, and he just starts eating it because he has to have like so much sugar and syrup and shit. But
I cry every time. I cry every time I watch it, Dylan. It's a classic. It's a big deal. All right, last question.
All right,
what's for dinner?
I don't know. To be a surprise, me and my wife ate separate lunches today. My son had a basketball game. I ate at the concession stand. I have no idea what's for dinner. I'm going to go home and be surprised. My wife cooks
boiled hot dogs.
Hell no. Hell no. My wife cooks a lot, and I don't see how she does it after like working all day and all that. Like, I'm not going to fucking cook, and I'm sure as fuck not going to do dishes. I tell her all the time, I'm like, dude, don't feel like you got to cook all the time. If I had to guess what she was cooking tonight, I would probably say spaghetti. I'm probably walking into spaghetti. I have no idea though. What's for dinner for you tonight, Andy?
Well, we're having chili, but my best recent meal I wanted to mention because I've been doing frozen pizzas a lot, but maybe tomorrow said, what's wrong with you? What's with this frozen pizza thing? And so on our way home on Friday after work, Joanne ran in Target and got a crust. And I know this is still a crust from Target. It's not frozen, just like, crust, pizza crust. Came two to a pack. They were organic. And then we put some olive oil on it, put some tomato sauce, mozzarella, a couple other things, can't remember. Boom, in the oven for 10 minutes. So good. Like
Best pizza. Is that DiGiorno?
What was that?
Is that like kind of like DiGiorno where you buy the crust?
No. It's not DiGiorno. It wasn't frozen. It was a homemade pizza. The crust wasn't homemade, but everything else was homemade. It was so much better. I loved it. So yeah, best recent meal was that. But what's for dinner is chili because I didn't make it last Sunday. Usually chili is I do Sunday chili because it's just so easy because then it's Monday chili and Tuesday chili last week.
Rest of the week chili.
Yeah. Chili like the only thing I can eat leftovers. Like I cannot eat leftovers unless it's like chili. That's the
lasagna.
Next day.
Maybe
lasagna is my favorite leftover.
Maybe lasagna, but chili, you're right. The leftovers are so good. So
Dylan, I have a question for you because it is like, as I'm sitting here, the sun's gone down and I'm starting to shiver a little bit in my shop. Like, how do you deal with printing in the cold, man?
Well, it's snowing right now.
But like on tomorrow morning, when I just bought a turnabout, by the way, which their turnaround on a turnabout right now is 6 weeks. Go figure. So I just bought a turnabout, but I cannot wait to get in here because tomorrow when I come in and I stick my spatula in my white, it's going to feel like halfway hardened concrete. And that is like, I couldn't print if I lived anywhere where it was cold like that. Like, how do you deal with that? Do you have like heaters everywhere in your shop or?
Yeah. So basically with the actual shop, I have to have a heater on. Usually it's like a big blower heater to keep it around 65 in there on nights and weekends.
Oh my God, I would die.
But 65 is perfect.
Dude, I shoot 70. Like I'm like freezing my ass off right now.
And 65 is kind of like glorious. Like usually it's not 65. But yeah, we have a turnabout for the biggest thing is your whites. Yeah. So we have a turnabout for the white. I actually just changed ink to Monarch, which we've loved using recently. And the white is way creamier than we thought it was going to be with cold weather. Because we're using like Legacy and Wilflex. And it was like concrete in the wintertime. Yeah. But the Monarchs is pretty creamy. But even before we got Monarch, I had a tip from another printer that they basically used a crock pot. So you take a crock pot and you take, like a crock pot. Yeah. And hold on a second. I bought one.
Dude, I would start a fire if I had a crock pot in here. I would do something wrong. Like that's actually a really good idea.
I bought one on Amazon because we were this winter going to use this trick where I ended up getting a Pixar one because it was like the cheapest one on Amazon. But just take a crock pot, take the lid off, and then put a little bit of water in it. And then in the morning when you get there, take your individual cup of white for like each press or whatever and set it in the crock pot and it'll warm the ink up and then just stir it and then put it on press. There's
a shop hack for you right there.
Yeah. But that's like something
would go wrong if I did that.
Us Northerners have to deal with our inks being cold. Pretty much before we got the Sprint 3000, our old dryer didn't stay as cool on the skin. Like now this 3000, you can put your hand on it. It's totally fine. But the old dryer we had just radiated heat all day long.
Oh, yeah.
So what we would do in the morning is when we got here, we'd turn the dryer on and then we would take our white ink cups and we'd set it on top of the dryer. And then it would warm the ink up and we'd stir it and print. The newer solution was going to have to be the crock pot. So if you know anybody who needs a Pixar crock pot, it's still in the box. Andy, I think, is going to get it mailed to him for Christmas.
Oh yeah, that's kind of like an AirPod, right? Similar. Hey, so we've talked about hybrid and digital squeegee a bunch on our show, and we're just two guys with an opinion, and it's usually probably wrong. And so all of this speculation about the digital squeegee, and now we finally got to talk to somebody about it. And so I really appreciate you taking some time and hanging out with us, and learned a lot about it actually today. So
if you guys like, when you guys start like seriously taking a look at it, one thing that I didn't do, I never went and even saw one in person. I did all my research online, watch videos online and stuff like that. If you guys get serious about buying one, find somebody close to you that has one, or y'all can come down here or whatever.
Like, why are we not just coming down to see you and eating Mexican food?
We'll go to Fuzzy's.
Oh, dude, you are welcome anytime. I would love to have y'all down here.
We'll go to Fuzzy's. We'll run the squeegee for you for a day.
You can take 2 days off.
I got the first day. Dylan can take the second day.
Y'all not touching that machine on day one. Man,
he comes back and it's like on fire.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm like, oh my God. Like, I barely want to turn over my 8-color Sportsman to somebody. You talk about turning over the digital squeegee to somebody. Like, it's going to be a long time coming before that happens. I feel like I'm going to die running that digital squeegee one day.
It's your baby. You can't let it go yet.
Dude.
All right, man. Well, go enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
Yeah, man. I appreciate the opportunity, guys. I appreciate you guys always being leaders of the industry. I followed you guys pretty much since I've been on Instagram. You guys do some badass work. I'm glad to have sit down and talk to some real ass shop owners today. I've learned some things from you guys, but yeah, I definitely appreciate the opportunity, man.
Yeah, we appreciate you, dude. Keep doing awesome stuff.
Y'all enjoy y'all Sunday. I'm going to go home and hang up the Christmas lights. My wife's been texting me this whole time. Are you going to hang these up in the dark, or what are you doing? I'm like, I'm doing the garage door. Like, it takes like 8 minutes to fucking do. So I'll be there soon enough to do your garage door.
And then have some spaghetti, turn on Elf. Dylan, you do the same thing. You better get home and turn on Elf. I'm gonna also do that while I'm making some chili. So, all right, cheers, guys.
See you, man.
Cheers. Y'all have a good week.
You too.